All right. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Geekery Abides, episode number 71, where we are talking about the Conjuring, the proper Conjuring franchise, I call it. I mean, I don't necessarily mean that there's proper and improper, but just the titular Conjuring ones. Let's go ahead and hit the intro and get started.
He who is ashamed of his geekery has forgotten the face of Stan Lee.
This is the podcast, Geekery Abides.
Hello and welcome to Geekery Abides, episode number 71, where our main topic is The Conjuring 1 through 4, the titular Conjuring episodes. My name is Tad, and with me as always is Peter, and we are here to talk some spooky season stuff.
Yes.
We ended up with only one spooky topic in the month of October, but then it doesn't matter because it's
spooky season.
Spooky season.
365.
Exactly. So let's see. Let's go ahead and first of all tell you, of course, to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications on the YouTube side. Also, let's do the emails because I also have an interesting quandary that came up. So first of all, if you want to email the show, you can do that directly at either peter@geekeryabides.com or tad@geekeryabides.com. It's TADD. If I remember, what I need to start doing is actually putting those emails in the descriptions.
Yeah.
And then it'll be there as well. I'm going to try to start doing that. And if I remember this time, good for me, but I wouldn't hold your breath on that because
we know you.
Yeah, that's tomorrow sometime that I'm going to be finishing all this up, so it's a matter of if I remember or not. But either way, So I was looking over this stuff for next season, which is the 2026 stuff, and we've kind of decided that the first episode of every year will be the recap of our previous year. And then we'll have a look ahead on the final episode. The problem is that there's a little movie called Avengers Doomsday that comes out the day before our final episode of 2026.
Oh, wow.
So I have to imagine that
is quite a quandary.
Yeah, I have to imagine a recap, or a look ahead might have to move around. Maybe we'll do it the episode before. I mean, I guess, I guess, because ultimately, that was episode 100 anyway, so it would be, the odd episode would be 99, which is the 5th of December. It's a little earlier. I normally don't do all my prep stuff for the next year until, I guess I have to do it early anyway, because I usually don't do it till Christmas, New Year's, that time off I usually take from work. So I guess I'd have to do it early anyway for the episode, even if it were there. But I'm like, Doomsday.
That's even earlier, though, going from the 19th of December to the 5th of December.
I mean,
and again, we're talking 2026.
For 2026, moving to 2027. But Doomsday comes out literally the day before our episode, which means that we will be covering Doomsday literally the day after its release. So,
no.
That's kind of an interesting thing. I also did fill out the rest of just a few big hitters on the calendar for 26: Scream 7, the Mando movie, The Odyssey, Spider-Man: Brand New Day, Clayface, and Doomsday. I have those all filled out on our calendar so that we can keep mind of those as we look ahead and start potentially plugging in episodes for what's that?
I don't have them.
For season 4?
Yeah, I only got 3 things. The 2027 look ahead, our favorite geekery stuff.
No, on the far right, the notable dates. No, I haven't filled out episodes. I just put the notable dates on the side so that when we...
Yeah, my screen's not as big as yours, Tad. I had to scroll over.
No, yeah. So, that was the one quandary that we have when it comes to looking ahead now, because we're getting pretty close to the end of the year here. So, I guess I do also still have to fill in my episode. I have one blank episode. So next episode's Peacemaker, season 2, and then I have an episode for 73 that was moved.
We thought of something.
No.
When we were talking the other day, we thought of something. You're like, that's a good idea.
No, it was just a vague idea. It was just that we haven't done a top 10.
Oh, we haven't done
list.
a top 10, so you didn't pick one?
So I haven't yet, no. Because I started looking ahead at the next year stuff, so I ended up being like, you know what? Because, like, just spoiler alert, I will have an announcement for some episodes next year during the course of this episode. So a little tease there. And I was going to actually maybe even start plugging those in. And then I realized, like, you know what? Let me get the dates for everything.
Yeah.
And then when I started plugging the dates in, and then
that's when you realize Doomsday.
Yeah. So,
gotcha.
yeah, and I kind of honestly, I think December is going to be, we're going to have to be kind of flexible a little bit because December next year, after the 2027 December, we're going to have Avengers Secret Wars. So, I don't know.
There's something else coming out in December right around Doomsday as well.
Avatar or Dune comes out after our episode.
Oh God!
So Dune is almost Christmassy. So
good Lord.
Yeah. So there is that as well. So, either way though. That is the little intro stuff and the little tease I had for 2026. Lot of fun stuff coming out. Because I think that's also what I also figured out too. Because I moved the Mortal Kombat movie to the week after the movie comes out, but that is also a day after the Mandalorian movie comes out. So I don't know what's going to happen there.
Sounds like we're going to have two main topics that week.
I don't know if we could do that. That'd be unprecedented. I don't know how we juggle two different movies, especially.
I mean, we talk about one, stop, take a breath, talk about the other.
Talk about how Baby Yoda would do in a Mortal Kombat tournament.
He would destroy them all. He would. His fatalities would be so freaking funny too.
Oh man! All right. So speaking of that, let's go on over to watching, reading, playing. Get my pedal, make sure you get the right one. All right, so moving over to watching, reading, playing. It's my episode. I don't have a whole lot on mine, but I will. I'll start first. I'll start at the gaming too, just for the hell of it. I'll go back with my playing. So I played a little bit of Ready or Not, also some NCAA football, but I also threw Mortal Kombat on. I realized I had not played any like skirmish matches or whatever on that since seeing Peacemaker. So I'm like, I could go and replay it now with Peacemaker, and I'll actually understand it more because I actually don't know if I ever played with him previously or not, because I
maybe faced him but not played as him.
Yeah, exactly. So it was fun. It's a good game, good fun brutal stuff. So I will say my one annoyance, and this is a longtime Mortal Kombat fan, is like the brutality. If you hit like a really powerful hit is like the last thing that takes their bar down, you'll actually just kill the person. So you don't have your fatality option. And like in the old days, dude, brutalities were like 25 fucking key pushes in like Mortal Kombat 2 the first time they ever did those. It was like the most insane shit you had to do to get a brutality. So like the fact that like I could accidentally do a brutality is both annoying because I want to do my fatality, but also because like retroactively I'm like, why the fuck wasn't it this easy back in the 90s when I was playing Mortal Kombat 2? So and then moving on up, reading End of the World as We Know It, the new anthology book that is taking place in the world of The Stand, with a number of different authors writing in it and stuff. So bought
little short stories, right?
I'd say short stories.
More?
Yeah, like some of them are, some are like an hour long or so. Some are a little bit shorter. So most of them are a little bit more novella, though. I think most of them are kind of in the 30 to 60 minute range for the most part. Some of them a little bit even longer. So it's been pretty cool so far. It's kind of cool to see different writers take on it and on all of it and stuff. See Robert Cargill, the guy that is a big writer with Scott Derrickson. He wrote the Black Phone movies and stuff, as well as probably the Doctor Strange movie as well that he did. But either way, he wrote one of the stories, and it is quite good.
Yeah,
quite good. Yes.
I know you were a little hesitant about this because it's not King.
Because it's not King, so there's
other people playing in his sandbox.
Yeah, but ultimately it came down to it where it's like it's
more Stand.
It's the Stand.
Yeah.
So seeing the world in the realm of Captain Trips is pretty fun. So
just hook it to my veins.
Yeah,
that's Tad basically.
Yeah, it's a fun read. I bought it for my vacation. Never ended up getting into it on my vacation at all. So I just barely started it not too long ago. So and then watching wise, just watched the World Series. I did finish The Good Wife, and there is a spinoff show called The Good Fight, which is a streaming show to follow up some of the same characters, but like not everyone. It's like a few of the whatever. So I'm watching that now. It's kind of interesting. 10 episodes instead of 20-something episodes because they're moving into the streaming era. And it's just funny because like suddenly now there's like nudity and F-bombs and stuff. I'm like, it was just jarring because it's like, moving from broadcast television to streaming, and sometimes it's very, very evident when you make that jump. So that's it for me. It's been fairly boring for me. I have watched a lot of reaction videos to some stuff. Horror movie season is upon us, so a lot of reaction people are watching horror movies, so that's a lot of fun.
A lot of them for their first times.
Yeah, most of the time, most reaction video stuff is for first time watches.
I
so.
guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I did watch one the other day. One of my regulars watching Conjuring 2, so that was a lot of fun.
Ooh,
So.
nice.
Yeah, good stuff.
For me, I'll start with the playing as well. I'll go backwards as well. I got the hankering and played Batman Arkham Knight. Unfortunately, I have that game so freaking memorized. I played it basically in a weekend. I did a little finish up stuff yesterday.
Yeah.
Riddler trophies, get him locked away and everything. But yeah, it's done. Played a little bit of NCAA football, played a little bit of Doom, I'm kind of just playing a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
I don't really have like that main game right now.
Yeah.
Last night, I did download Assassin's Creed 3.
Okay.
I've never played past 1. I downloaded 2. I own 2 on my Steam library. But I have to figure out how to play with a controller. It's not just
like auto mapped.
They don't have it like auto mapped you have to like apparently like build it or download something, and I'm just like, that's too much work.
Yeah.
I want to plug and play. I'm not that tech savvy when it comes to like programming and shit like that. So
yeah.
I looked it up. Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered has it, and that's also the one I wasn't a huge fan of 1. I kind of got bogged down in it, so I wanted to play 2 just so I could get to 3, and I've heard amazing things about 4.
I've never been able to. I've always wanted to try those. I've never played a single second of any of those games.
Yeah.
But like, it's one of those ones where there's no clear answer of like where's the best place to like jump in for someone that didn't actually play them as they came out and stuff.
And I've heard that 4 becomes where it's the open sandbox kind of world.
Yeah.
Where you can kind of do. I mean, 1 is kind of that way, but it has stuff like locked behind like. You have to progress before you unlock everything, but you can kind of do what you want kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was that way back then. I don't know about 2 and 3, but 4 is pirates. So you have your own ship and you fucking sail around on a goddamn pirate ship, which sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But 3 takes place during the Revolutionary War. So you're actually fighting like redcoats. So it's like, yeah, sign me the fuck up, kind of thing. So
yeah,
I always kind of wanted to get to that. The guy has like a tomahawk instead of just like the swords. So it's like, yeah, all right. So I saw that was remastered. I downloaded it last night, right before going to bed.
Yeah.
And then obviously didn't have time to play it today with prep for the shows and everything.
Yeah.
So got that ready to go. Got that in the
old hopper.
In the old hopper, ready to go and everything.
Yeah, I did get an email from John. I have a little bit about the Conjuring, but he did send his. He put it in reading, watching, playing. So he's throwing it all over the place when it comes to, because it's watching, reading, playing is how we usually say it. I know I just did it backwards. He's got it out of order as well. But he said reading Sunrise on the Reaping, and he said in parentheses Hunger Games prequel. Watching just started Severance. That's a great show, as well as still watching Taskmaster, and then playing Castlevania 64. So a lot of retro games for him. Yeah. That's great. I love that. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll save his Conjuring thing for a few seconds, or a minute here until we actually get to the Conjuring stuff. So
gotcha. I'm not reading anything right now. Like, I have a book. I started The Talisman a while ago, and I stopped to read Murderland, and I think I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Because now it's hard to go back to a fiction book after reading nonfiction.
Yeah.
So it's like...
I've been kind of just out... I mean, the Stan thing is helping me a little bit, but I've been out of, like, in a funk for reading for a bit. I mean, at work, I've got a lot of stuff I'm doing that's, like, mental, so I've been doing a lot of music more so than anything else.
Yeah, because you can't pay attention to a book while you're doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so...
My wife's the same way. She can't listen to audiobooks while she's working.
Yeah, no, it's got to be... And for me, it depends. Like, there's certain kind of work that's a little bit less mental or whatever, and it's easy to just have a podcast or a book going. But yeah, it's been a very much a music thing the last I don't know how long.
Yeah,
for me,
I was kind of the same way, and I was like, well, what I'll do is I'll turn the Talisman on when I'm driving. Even if it's only 20 minutes a day, my 10-minute commutes to and from work, at least I'm getting something. Even then, I was just like, oh, not feeling it.
Got to find you a new nonfiction book.
I think what I need to do is I need to wait, and then we are reading the Running Man.
Oh, that's true.
I think I'm gonna download that and get that going because we have that for our other show.
Yeah,
the next week. But watching, my wife and I watched it chapter 2 yesterday.
Ooh, go on.
We will be talking about that in 2 weeks on our other show because that is Stephen King related.
I mean, it's spooky season though. Just give me some taste here.
Dude, the spider got her so bad. It got her so bad.
Oh, good old Tim Curry.
There
Or not
was-
Tim Curry, Skarsgård.
Yeah, there was one other part. The spider was bad, but I can't remember what it was. I'll have to ask her. And I wrote it.
She has ew spiders.
Yeah, she's not a fan
So-
of spiders.
Spiders and then clowns and then spider clowns.
Yeah, exactly. It's
great.
It was like the worst. The only thing that would have made it worse is if it had turned into a centipede instead of a spider. She does not like centipedes.
Yeah.
But there was one other part, I can't remember what it was, that just made her like she did the whole pull her hood up, her sweater up to her face, and
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. Maybe she remembers, but there was one that I was just like, yep, that got her.
Yeah.
That got her good. It was one of the adults.
Did she
having
enjoy
their-
the bleacher scene?
No, she did not. No.
Oh, I still take great joy in how much that affected you.
Oh, it was the Paul Bunyan jump scare. Yeah, that got her.
Oh,
That jump scare got you, but no, there was a moment where something grossed you out or freaked you out where you pulled your sweater.
What's the
up.
opening scene? Is that the Adrian Mellon?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like,
I honestly forgot about that they did that in the movie. I thought it was the
ooh, she's saying that it's the Thing, Spiderhead.
Oh yeah, the spider head. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's a
because the head grows the legs.
yeah.
That was like absolutely not for her.
Yeah, very much a
And the
tribute,
leper.
a very much tribute to the Thing.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
love it. So,
But having the legs like grow out of it and everything
Yeah.
like that,
and then scurry away.
oh yeah, and then like it popped down on Richie and just like it was so bad.
Yeah.
You probably saw this coming with our conversation we had in text last weekend. I'm rewatching the Daniel Craig Bond movies. I've watched Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall, and I am halfway through Spectre. And then also I'm halfway through a rewatch of Avengers Infinity War. Infinity War is with my wife. Spectre is when I'm alone because she has never seen any of the Daniel Craig Bond movies. So
Okay.
I'm skipping Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace with her. We're going straight to Skyfall. So
Casino Royale's so good though.
it is good. She watched most of it when I watched it
Okay.
this last time.
Okay.
And she's watched a little bit of it through osmosis with me the last time I watched it as well. So
Yeah.
that one she kind of has the gist of what. And she watched the torture scene too, which is
Yeah.
the scene
Yeah.
a little to the left. Daniel Craig's so good as Bond,
Oh yeah. For sure.
but she has to watch the best one, which is Skyfall, of course. So
I think Casino Royale. I think that one's. I think that's his crowning achievement.
that's
man.
wrong.
No.
Skyfall is the best Bond movie of all time.
Oh man, no.
It's the best Bond movie of all time. Hot take if you think it is a hot take. Skyfall is the best.
I don't
Bond
know when
movie
the
of all
last time I've ranked my Bonds, but From Russia with Love's my number one. I've always loved that one. And when I rewatched him 5 or 6 years ago, like takeaway wise, I ended up watching through every single Bond movie. And that was like my absolute favorite for sure. So
that is one thing I am going to have to do eventually is watch all of the Bond movies because my dad had a bunch of them, but I don't know which ones he had, so I don't know which ones I've seen. I know I've seen Dr. No,
yeah.
and I know I've seen...
Have you seen the one where Bond is in a clown costume?
No, I've never seen that one.
Of course, that's a Roger Moore era.
Oh, that explains it. I have seen Goldfinger. I've seen a lot of the Sean Connery ones. I've seen a couple Roger Moore ones. I don't know if I ever saw the Timothy Dalton one.
Yeah, you got to get.
But I've seen every Pierce Brosnan one. I know that.
Okay. And for me, it's probably From Russia with Love, and then GoldenEye and Casino Royale is probably my top 3 for all-time Bonds.
Skyfall.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I just Casino Royale, man, it's a great one. I love it. So
it's great.
Looks like you're watching a lot too.
That's it right there. So, yeah, Bond when I'm alone, Infinity War when my wife's around. So.
Okay.
Which I do have to say that when my wife's schedule changes here in a couple months, we are going to be able to finally sit down and watch some stuff that we have not been able to watch.
Like Weapons?
So, Weapons is probably going to happen before that. We're going to make time for that. But
you should.
Speaking of watching, got to tell you about a conversation I had with my daughter the other day.
Yes, go on.
I think I did. Maybe I told you this off air, but I'll tell it on air again just in case. I asked her, she's 13 now. She had her birthday last week. Teenager. I asked her if she really wanted to go trick-or-treating or if she would prefer if we did a proper Halloween. And she goes, what do you mean by that? I said, get food, have a bunch of junk food, and watch a really good horror film. And she goes, what horror film do you have in mind? I said, The Conjuring. And she goes, what's that?
So that's very apropos to today's episode.
Exactly. I thought that was pretty, like, all right, But I had the thought a couple days before I had this conversation with her is like, we're trying to avoid a lot of stuff that has adult content, the sexual stuff with her. She's still only 13, but she watched Scream, which surprisingly, when I looked it up, doesn't have a ton of like, it has sexual innuendos, but it doesn't have like an outright like sex scene.
I mean,
like,
there is,
but there's
Billy
not,
and
but there's not
Sydney.
people, but there's not people getting naked. Like Halloween, where you have like full on like see anything you like kind of stuff.
But that's off screen though.
It is. But she stands up and gets choked out and full. Like,
yeah,
that's what we're talking about. Like stuff like that. So, but she also watched The Ring. She's watched Jaws, and I know we're not going to get into it. That's a topic for another day.
Good adventure film.
That is
Jaws.
a horror film,
Did-
Tad. You are a cultured swine for
Nope.
thinking it's anything but a horror film.
Never has been.
It has too. It scared the shit out of America. That's a horror
non-horror
film.
movies scare people all the time.
That's a
sir.
horror film.
Non-horror
get
movies
outta
scare
here.
people all the time.
Get out of here with that. But so I thought that it was time. Like, okay, look, she's really loving horror films, and so I said, well, how
Have
about
you gone a lot of possession stuff though?
No, The Ring is the closest thing.
Yeah,
that's about it. So this is going
That's
to be
the
a
shallow end of the pool. There.
It is. So we're gonna have this, and this is going to give me a taste for how she's going to handle a lot more scarier stuff. Because let's be real. Jumping into it, right? We're jumping into the main topic.
Watching, reading, playing.
I'm done.
Your
I'm
wife posted.
Oh,
some
my
too.
wife. Oh, yeah, my wife said watching 3 Deadpools, Infinity War, Shoresy, reading nothing, playing Disney Dreamlight Value, and Power Wash Simulator 2. God, she loves that game. Just cleaning things.
And watch it, Chapter 2 and Doctor Sleep.
Yes. Oh, that's right. She did watch Dr. Sleep.
That's good.
I forgot about that. I have not talked to her about it yet.
Mm.
I forgot.
Good
She
stuff.
watched it while I was at work.
Mm.
So I forgot to talk to her about it when I got home on Thursday, and then I forgot to talk to her about it yesterday because we were watching It Chapter 2.
Mm.
So
Well, we'll dive deeper into that on the Stephen King
we
show.
definitely
for
got
sure.
a lot to dive into with that. But yeah, with The Conjuring, my daughter didn't know what it was. So I found that kind of interesting. I want to start off with that a 13-year-old who likes horror films, we go to that burger place here in Utah that has horror-themed and everything like that, and she doesn't know what The Conjuring is. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, what is the legacy of The Conjuring? Like, is it that well known? It's not like Friday the 13th. Even kids.
Oh, I'd say it's for our modern era. It's the biggest horror franchise,
right? But it's just interesting that my daughter had never heard of it.
But
And
I mean,
so
I
I thought it was just kind of. But when we mentioned Annabelle, she knew that.
yeah,
I thought it was kind of interesting. So it's just like.
yeah.
So what we did is we showed her the trailer, and she's like, "Can I watch it now?" We're like, "No, we're gonna watch it on Halloween." So that's what we're doing on Halloween.
Mm.
We're gonna pick her up from school about noonish is about when she gets out.
Wait till it gets dark.
We're going to get food, play some games, do some stuff.
A Ouija
maybe
board?
a craft and everything. Maybe a Ouija board would be fun, And then right as it's starting to get dark, because it gets dark pretty early now.
Yeah, about 7-ish.
About 7-ish. I think
Yeah.
about 6:30 we're gonna have food. Either go get food, have it delivered, whatever we're gonna do. And then we're going to my wife says no Ouija boards. That's so very Hayden of you. Come on.
Yeah, what fun is that?
Yeah, whatever went wrong using a Ouija board? Name one time.
Yeah, indeed.
I can't think of a single one.
Never.
But
It's always fun.
we're going to do that, and then right as it's starting to get dark, we're going to start the movie. So it's going to get dark as we're watching the movie. I thought that would be really fun to do it that way.
No, that's great. That's good. Definitely can't wait to hear the report on that.
Yeah.
So, that's great. And then Weapons would be a one to watch with your kid too, I think.
Think so?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's a good one. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very
My wife makes a good point. I have not watched the movie Ouija, so.
you need to watch the second one, not the first one. Second one Mike Flanagan directed. So,
Oh.
Ouija Origins of Evil. Watch that one. Forget about the first one.
Okay.
So, but Conjuring 2 and the kids playing with the Ouija board, nothing goes wrong there. The
Nothing.
Exorcist never goes
Right.
wrong there. I still say that the whole group of us need to go out to Salt Lake Cemetery, the largest cemetery, I believe, in the United States, and go play some Ouija board there.
Yeah,
Middle of the night, 3 a.m., probably witching hour. Sounds about fun, right?
could be fun.
All right.
Where's Hayden when we need him?
He's cooking brats and
Oh, that's
whatnot.
right.
So yeah, he's doing a Oktoberfest thing.
That's right.
So John emailed and said, "My wife and I just watched the last two Conjuring movies within the last 2 months. And while I don't have any deep thoughts on them, I enjoy them. They're decent films, and the two main actors do a good job. I love they show the real people at the end of the movies, and I'm always end up looking up the real stories behind the movie. So, do you do that?
Yeah.
look into the real story. So,
Oh yeah. A lot of times I will look up things about the movies, like whether it's a fiction, if it's a fiction story based on something, I'll look up and be like, what other details are out there? What else? How close were they and everything? Like, because there's those ones where it's like based on a true story, and literally all they took was the people's names.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing they
if
took.
even that.
If even that, it's the city where
like
it happened.
like Ed Gein inspiring.
Oh God, yeah,
Texas Chainsaw
yeah.
Massacre.
Like that's the
It's like
example.
he's not in Texas. He doesn't have a chainsaw, and there's no massacre.
Like the only thing is the wearing of dead skin, maybe.
Yeah, and some furniture.
And some furniture. Like yeah. But they don't even do that in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They don't.
No, they do.
Do they emphasize
Yeah,
human skin?
you get an idea that there's some
Furniture that's been
some-
upholstered.
yes, some long pork leather as you might call it. So, all right. So, let's go ahead and dive on into the main topic, which is The Conjuring 1 through 4. I don't know why, but 4 just doesn't feel right to me. It feels like there's more, and I know there's the extended universe stuff, but like I don't know why it just feels to me like there's 5 movies, and I don't know why, but it just
I think
4 just feels
I think
wrong.
my wife was the same way the other day when we were talking about what the episode was about today.
Yeah.
Because she is gonna have to dip out here soon, but she's like, yeah, I'll, or maybe she was the other way. Maybe she was saying there was only 3, and I'm like, no, there's 4 of them, and she's like, that feels wrong.
Yeah. It's an odd number. For
No,
sure.
it's an even number.
No, it's an odd number.
It's an even number.
Have you watched any of the spinoff stuff?
I haven't seen a single thing outside of The Conjuring.
Neither have I. I did watch one that they were like trying to like kind of pretend was part of the extended universe as the Curse of La Llorona,
Yeah,
but it's like
it's not.
no,
Okay.
they're not in it. I don't remember. Maybe there's an allusion to them, but I watched that during my 50 horror movies in 31 days last year, and I remember just kind of coming away from it like, and I think in the trivia or something it mentioned that it was like kind of called like part of the Conjuring universe. I'm like, how? It wasn't good either. So, yeah. No, I don't think any of the spinoffs. At one point, they were talking about doing The Crooked Man as a spinoff, and I think I would have watched that one because The Crooked Man is quite fun.
Oh yeah, terrifying.
Gave my brother nightmares.
Did it really?
Yeah.
My wife says that she watched Annabelle.
Okay. I have nothing against them. I don't think anyone should like avoid them. It's just I've never delved into them. I don't know. Like I
maybe that needs to go on our list for next year.
Yeah, I mean maybe because there's that and there's the Nun.
The Nun ones though.
The one Nun movie, the last one that came out, the trailer had me somewhat like.
Oh, there was
peaked.
that vent scene that was.
Yeah, where they're like going up into the attic type stuff or whatever. So yeah.
No, it's the girls, the
Yeah.
school girls, and they're looking into a vent that goes to the next.
Yeah, they're up in
room.
the attic.
Oh, is it in the attic? Oh.
Yeah. So.
So you've never seen the Nun
No.
or the Nun 2?
Mm-mm.
I thought you
Or
went to
the 3 or
theaters-
4
I-
Annabelle movies. No.
I thought you went to the theaters for the Nun 2 with Hayden for some reason.
No, we just saw the trailer a number of times.
Oh, okay.
So there was that whole like 6-month stretch where they just played that with every fucking movie we went to, even non-horror movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
We commented on that. We're like, why is this played with a Marvel movie? What is
yeah.
this?
I mean, I'm all about it. Give me horror trailers all the time. I have
Also,
no-
traumatized kids is a thing that Ted likes.
Yeah, indeed. All right. So let's go ahead and just dive in with the first one. So,
Okay.
go ahead and say what you want to say just to start it off. I have some like whatever. I guess I'll say no, go ahead. Just give some overall thoughts on the first movie.
One of my favorite things about this first movie is the way that they set up the progression. Stage 1 is this, stage 2 is this, stage 3 is this.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I never would have thought I would see is like they're ghost hunters. My idea of a ghost hunter is someone who's like, oh, I think I heard something on my voice recorder. I used to watch what was it, Taps, I think is what they were called, ghost hunters.
Yeah.
Where they would set up for 40 minutes for 30 minutes what this place looked like, show 2 minutes of ghost hunting, and then give you maybe
The highlights.
maybe a piece of evidence that might show. So I was kind of expecting that. This was definitely not what I was expecting with them.
Yeah.
Also, I knew nothing about them. I'd never heard Ed and Lorraine Warren's names before this.
That's
ever.
interesting. I just, as a longtime horror fan, even before these were ever even thoughts in anyone's mind, like I was aware of these guys. I think I had seen them on like talk shows. I know that like just kind of in like the pantheon of like the Amityville horror because like they investigated.
That's the thing that blew my mind is to find out that they actually went and investigated the Amityville horror house.
Yeah.
I love the Amityville horror. I like the original more than the remake, but the remake even has Ryan Reynolds in it and everything like that. So it's like
And a lawsuit.
Because of the dog.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's crazy to me to think that I never crossed paths with the Warrens.
Yeah.
Through everything.
But then again, you've I think before you met me, you weren't really into the horror realm, so you wouldn't have seen anything there.
But even before that, The Conjuring didn't come out until 2013. I was married for a year when it came out.
Yeah.
So even by then, I still had never heard of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting, like, you turned me on to horror in 2004. No, 2002.
It's just one of those things that, like, even from my perspective, expose you to horror, like, that doesn't really fit in because there's no movies. So it's like,
right.
Like, I don't know. It's just...
Well, I just like the Amityville horror. I thought there was going to be something there that would, when I think back to it, it's like, how did I never, like, and then, like, the ghost hunting and stuff like that. So it's like, it's interesting that it never crossed my, because I looked up stuff about taps, like, are they for real? Are they not? I think it's called Ghost Hunters is the name of the show, but they called themselves taps.
Yeah.
And I remember watching, when we lived together, I would watch the marathons of them, like on my day off. Like, you'd be like, all right, I'm heading off to work. I'm like, all right, see you. Turn on taps, like,
yeah.
And I would have a marathon of them playing all day. It just happened to work a lot of times where they were on. So I saw them investigating all these places, and I'm like, okay, so they set up cameras, they listen to voice recordings, and then they do like the dots, where they put a bunch of dots and see if something walks in front of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm expecting that, kind of thing, but obviously it's a horror film, so I'm like, okay, so maybe they'll make it a little bit more scary than that. So when I get into The Conjuring, that is, oh, damn, we're talking like Exorcist level stuff here.
Yeah.
So really kind of caught me off guard the very first time watching it, and I do not remember the first time I watched it.
Yeah, as I was saying, I'm pretty sure we saw it in theaters, you and I, because, like,
we?
Yeah, I think so. And I don't think I saw it with Hayden, though. I think you and I went and saw it. So, but again, not that I have any, like, distinct memories.
It's 12 years ago. That's a long time for asking for us to remember stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been, like, my first year in my current job.
Yeah.
So, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago. Yeah. Yeah, so for me, I will just say right up top, like, I do think this is one of the best horror movies of the 21st century.
Oh, so good.
The first one specifically. It's just everything you said, like, in terms of, like, the fact that it's, like, more of a slow burn is, like, something that I thought was dead and gone. Like, I just feel like the whole, like, ADHD, MTV generation horse shit had, like, so much permeated into the realm of horror that, like, the idea that we'd be able to go and do, like, a slow burn horror, like, in the same vein as The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought that ended in 1980, 89. Like, I just, even in the 90s, like, we just didn't slow burn. I mean, I know the 80s are pretty big. I mean, maybe even ended in 79 because, like, through the 80s it was a lot bigger with, like, zombies and slashers. In the 90s, like, kind of got kind of weird and jumping the shark. But, like,
it got to the point in the 2000s with Saw.
Yeah.
Where the only thing they wanted to do was gore. Look at Rob Zombie's Halloween movies.
Yeah.
You took Michael Myers and made it the most bloody, gory, disgusting kills, trying to gross people out.
Yeah.
Even like the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as fantastic as that movie is, that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of horror films in the 2000s, which is the
Yeah.
decade before The Conjuring comes
but
out.
even all those, like, with what they were doing with different things with gore, there was some, like, more spooky shit and stuff. But I just feel like the idea of slow burn, like, it's just felt like it was decades removed. So it's like, even outside of just, like, popularity of genre types, like, it just felt like we were so far removed from slow burns that I just didn't think we'd ever see the day.
Yeah, you'd have one or two here or there. Like, the first
but
Saw
even like
had it.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose was in the aughts, right?
Yeah.
And, like, think about that one. That wasn't as much of a slow burn. Like, it was like a courtroom drama, but, like, whatever. Like, I mean,
but you also had, like, The Grudge.
When did Paranormal come out? Because that one was actually
like 2009, 2008, 2007, somewhere around there, late 2000s.
Because that one was actually pretty slow burn, but that was mostly because they.
But it was so short, though. Was the problem?
It was short, but they also had almost no budget. That's why it was slow burn. So that one was 2007. So maybe that's even the thing that we can almost call back to as, like, the spot where horror started to kind of open people's mind that this was actually something they could still do. Because again, like, you just got to be kind of cognizant of your audience and what your audience can handle or not.
I guess it wasn't that short, an hour and 26 minutes. It was 90 minutes long.
Yeah. But it was, but it's still
was
like
still pretty
it was
short,
it was a
yeah.
shoestring budget. So it's like
Yeah.
ultimately, I think the slow burn came from that is like, and that like whatever. I mean, and I mean you have some outliers for sure.
Yeah,
I'd say
absolutely. Like I said-
Blair Witch is a slow burn in '99, but like
Yeah.
ultimately, like it just felt like and especially
The majority definitely is what you're talking
yeah,
about. Though.
it's the Ritalin era where
And that's
everything
where-
was just so like, you know, fast cuts and like suit and gore and like, you know,
Yeah.
freaking whatever newest rock song is going to play over the credits and like it just
I think
felt like a
part of
different
it-
era.
I think where you have to point the blame is to two movies, and they came out right around the same time. I think. Let me fact check myself before
Call
I
it
say
out.
this.
I'll see if I can guess.
Final Destination, 2001.
Yeah, I think it was 02 is more in my mind. But yeah, that one's a little bit less outside of my wheelhouse. I know I'm pretty sure it's 21st century.
I hate
right?
the fact that I have to put first film 2000. I
2000,
hate the fact
yeah.
that I have to put the first film because there's like 3 named that now.
Yeah.
And then Saw October 29th, 2004. You have those two that really kind of you know what? I'm going to change it. I think it's Final Destination that kind of changed the game, where you can do a movie that's still good, that's technically horror but not horror.
Yeah.
Like when you think about it,
that was big in the 2000s, like that aughts era.
Yes.
There was a lot of like I used to call it like bubblegum horror.
yeah,
Like it was just like there were a lot of PG-13. It was like the large like contingent of thought was you couldn't really do R-rated movies because you were limited your audience too much. And that's where
Right.
you got like Alien versus Predator, 2 R-rated franchises that came together and made a PG-13 movie, which was
like, what are we doing here?
but like so I think you kind of saw that happening. And I've always called, I don't know what they call it in the horror genre, like realm, but I always called it the bubblegum horror era, where it just felt like everything was just, it was about like pretty actors and like, you know, easy to digest again. And I think that era is what made me think that we were just never going to see like slow burns come back because
when you're looking at like the 70s and stuff like that, even the 60s, you got Psycho, Rosemary's Baby,
Exorcist.
The Exorcist is such a slow burn and everything
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, that's 70s versus 60s for
but
Rosemary's
that's
Baby, right?
but yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
60s and 70s.
Yeah.
That's what horror films were. Even like Dracula in '93, Bram Stoker's. That's a slow burn and everything like that.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of horror films that do go harder and faster and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, you got Friday the 13th.
But it's
but
also
even those
but also
build.
your general
you
rule
know?
for horror movies is 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like how much slow burn can you really do in 90 minutes as well, right?
But
Like
when
a
you look
lot,
at-
a lot of these we talk about that are actually slow burns are the ones that actually are pushing the boundary into 2 hours or even higher.
Or even higher.
So because if you're doing a 90-minute movie, man, you don't have time to slow burn. I mean, of course the paranormal did, but it's like also I think that's more of a reality of what they had budget for. Same with
Sure.
Blair Witch, right? Like, what are you really going to show on a $300,000 budget? So
Right.
you have to make it a slow burn. It's like, and that's why I always love, and that's why I always tell people, that's why I always love first films a lot of times, because a lot of times it's low budget, and so like it's shoestring and bubblegum, and there's ingenuity that goes into that. But then they get to the sequels where it's like, oh, we're going to give you $100 million, not really, but we're going to give you $80 million to make the sequel, and it's like, there's a reason that they all just feel so much different. It's like, because there's no more ingenuity now. It's just a matter of, well, we
Right.
got infinite budget, so
let's
go nuts.
just do CGI blood splatters.
Yeah. So
But no, like Final Destination really kind of the gore fest started there, where it's just like, let's see how many people we can gross out. It's like, that's great, but is it scary?
I mean, was that one that gory though? The
Yeah.
Final Destination,
Oh,
the
yeah.
first one. I don't remember it being overly gory.
Yeah.
In fact, I would have thought it was a PG-13 movie.
They showed people like getting exploded on the plane, like when he has his vision and stuff like that. I know it doesn't happen. And then there's the teacher that her house catches on fire and she gets stabbed by like 17 knives because they all fall off the counter onto her.
Yeah.
You can see the one kid get his head chopped off. So it
But
does,
no, I think you're right.
But even like the later Final Destinations
But I
really lean into it more.
I think you're correct though. I think Saw is the one that ultimately blew up the gore genre.
I think Final Destination started it.
A lot was happening though, because I mean the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is 03. But yeah, there's just this whole era where it was like all about gross out. You got Hostel, you got like
the Rob Zombie Halloween ones really stick out to me.
Yeah.
Like how much gore can you fit into a Halloween movie?
Yeah.
About someone who's killing, babysitters. Like,
Yeah.
It's supposed to be more like serial killer-ish when you think about the Halloween franchise. But
yeah.
when you look at the later Halloween movies, Beyond One,
yeah.
that's where you really, that's what they did. That's the 80s style,
Yeah.
I mean, even Scream was gory.
And I think that slashers you got to hold separately.
Yeah.
Because slashers are inherently going to be their own style, and you're always going to be
true.
more gore with those. So it gets into the realm where if you really want to do apples and apples to apples, you're going to have to look at like your more possession style horror stuff. And I just feel like, yeah, like because even like I remember that whole Exorcism of Emily Rose where it was like, hey, we got a possession movie, cool. And I go see it. I'm like, this is a courtroom drama.
I do not remember that movie
it's
at
like,
all.
what the fuck are we doing here, man? Because like, yeah, I don't know. And I think there is a realm where it's just like not trusting the audiences. And I feel like this has really helped kind of like spark the idea that like, oh no, audiences can still hang with, a slow burn type horror. But I will say that like, just as my overarching like talk on number one is like, this is in the same realm for me as like Hereditary, as some of the, like, basically your top echelon horror of the 21st century.
Didn't we
like,
do a top 10 of the 21st horror?
Did we do 21st century? I don't remember.
I think we did. Didn't we?
That
was one of our top 10, wasn't it?
Horror. I know we did a top 10 horror movies in episode 36. Yeah, we did modern horror.
Yeah.
Episode 44. So, yeah. So we did actually do that. So I have to imagine that, Conjuring was high up on my list because like
I kind of wonder where it was for both of us. I'm going to go see if I can find the episode, but keep talking.
Yeah. So what did I say? It was
44?
That was 44. Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Right before Haunting of Hill House. It was last year's October was doing this. So Modern Horrors is 44 and then Hill House is 45. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could just jump to the end and see the
graphic. Yeah.
Okay, I can see our top. Oh yeah, here it is. You want to know where ours is?
Yeah, go on.
You have The Conjuring as 5th.
Okay.
I have it as 1.
Okay.
Sounds familiar. You have Doctor Sleep, Halloween. You have Halloween listed.
The new one, 2018.
That one. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, Rob Zombie. I was like, what the fuck, Tad?
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? No, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
The Mist and Hereditary is number 1. And then I have Conjuring as number 1 for mine.
And yeah, when it comes down to me, like when you start mixing the Stephen King stuff in, The Mist with one of the greatest endings of all time.
Yes.
Doctor Sleep is just a fucking masterpiece of a film.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, we're talking top 5, right? And where did I put Hereditary?
1.
Yeah, because I mean, Hereditary is insanely good. But I think,
and again, also what we've always said with top 10s. Ask Tad again tomorrow,
and it'll be different.
And it'll be different.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
but like,
which one has he watched more recently?
But I will say that most likely, if you ask me to do a 21st century horror, like
99 out of 100 times, Conjuring is going to be in the top 5.
100%. Yes, absolutely.
100%, not 99.
Yeah. I don't know that it would ever fall into the top 5. Like, and even as like we keep progressing in the 21st century and movies come out that are fucking masterpieces like Weapons.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you can beat away, because there's like the legacy part that's built into it too, right? Where it's just like this, this movie really, and I remember, I mean, because like back in this era when this came out, like I was seeing every horror movie that came out and stuff. And there's a lot of them that like I completely forgot about. Like I brought my Letterboxd account back up because I neglected that for years.
Sure.
And I'm trying to use that pretty more actively. And I remember going on that and like scrolling through some of the films I had logged on there. And I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that movie is. And I went and clicked into it and saw the date and saw like the description, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, but I only would have added it in if I saw it. And like, dude, so like ones that are so forgettable that I literally forgot. I couldn't tell you one thing about. I couldn't tell you an actor. I couldn't tell you a scene. I couldn't tell you a scare. Nothing. So there was just a lot of forgettable shit that came out. So
I just looked up popular 2013 horror movies. The Conjuring is first. Right next to it is Evil Dead.
Yeah, which is great. But
and then next to that is All Hallows Eve.
Okay.
Is that Art? Is that Art the Clown? Is that the?
I think that's where it originated. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Mama, isn't that with Jennifer Lawrence? Is that one?
No, that's Mother.
That's Mother. Okay.
Yeah.
And then The Purge.
Okay. Yeah.
And We Are What We Are and Jugface.
Okay. Yeah, and
then when I scroll over a little bit, there's the Carrie remake that came out that year.
Oh yeah, Carrie in 2013. That's right.
World War Z, which is terrible. Oculus came out that year, and Texas Chainsaw
in 2013. So that would have been the second or third reboot.
Insidious Chapter 2.
Okay, but yeah,
So
like
yeah, like
there's some
yeah.
there's some that jump out, like Sinister, Insidious. There was some that was like, oh my god, that was actually like not too bad. But there was a lot of times where it was just like you're eating a lot of meals, and there was a lot of mediocre or completely bad meals you're eating. And then I remember like going to The Conjuring, where it was just like, and I thought it was you, but it's like I remember just turning, and being like, dude, what the fuck, dude? That was incredible.
It very well could have been me. I just honestly I don't remember the first time I watched The Conjuring.
Yeah,
I remember watching The Conjuring 2 with you.
yeah.
Because I'm ashamed to admit it. That's the only time I've watched The Conjuring 2.
Oh, really?
I've gone back and revisited the first Conjuring 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
I've never watched 2, 3, and 4 more than once.
Maybe you should do a double header, 1 and 2 on Halloween. If your kid's good at staying up, which teenagers are.
If she's game for it, we might.
Because I will say, we're jumping ahead of smidge, but the second one, I think it gets I don't think it gets enough respect, because it is a great fucking movie.
I love the twist of the second one. So what I did is just to make sure that, because The Conjuring 3, I missed it completely in theaters.
Yeah.
We missed it as a movie crew, because that one came out in 2021.
Yeah.
So we were still trying to get our feet back under us from COVID and everything. Yeah. And what?
I just Hayden and I went and saw the third one.
Yeah. There's
a couple scenes I remember that just if you have a chance to go see a horror movie with Hayden,
always do it.
Always do it. Always take it.
Absolutely. But I remember we watched 3, me and my wife watched 3, and she watched 2 by herself. We watched the first one together, and then she watched 2 by herself, and then we watched 3, and then obviously we went and saw 4 with our group.
Yeah.
But I have not gone back and watched 2 or 3.
I wanted to try to get through and rewatch some of these before this. It's just life's been so crazy.
That's exactly.
But I'm satiated to actually jump back in and watch all of them again, because it's been a while. I mean, not for the fourth one, because that's fairly new, but the other 3, it's been pretty much almost since release, probably since I've seen most of them, except for the first one. So like there is part of me that's been like, and then watching some reaction videos and stuff, I'm like, I need to jump back in, man. These are good.
So I did have a choice to suggest to my wife that we watch The Conjuring 2 yesterday instead of It Chapter 2. But Welcome to Derry comes out on Sunday.
It does, which means that Weapons just hit. So I remember discovering that Weapons hit HBO Max yesterday.
Yeah.
And then, the couple days later, Welcome to Derry starts up.
Welcome to Derry starts on Sunday.
So you guys are watching that,
So
huh?
I'm pretty sure we are.
Commit to it, sir.
I'm watching it. I don't know what the hell she's doing, but I'm watching it.
Oh,
it's a matter of if she's going to watch it.
What's great is that means that your household Pennywise band is now gone. That's a great thing, right?
It is.
So
it's great. It means I can watch them again.
Yeah.
Or
just listen to the book on a speaker.
She's listening to the book too.
She's just in there working, and she just suddenly hears, the eye leech scene or something.
Yeah.
So with the first one, just a couple of things. The Perrion family. What do you think of the family? Because I think so much of like a horror movie that's really great is that it's more than just kills or scares, right?
Yes.
You need to care about the characters. You need to have some sort of like story going on, right? The Haunting of Hill House, like the reason that's so good is because of like the trauma and like the characters that are going on. The scares are like secondary, and the reason that's such a fucking masterpiece. And I feel like the Perrion family really comes down to like, I feel like they did, for me, I will answer it and say I think they did such a great job with this family. Like they just felt real, they felt like fleshed out, and like the whole thing, like they bamboozle you, making you think it's the daughter, and then it turns out it's the mom. So like I think that they did a great job. It's a huge family.
I love the fact that we got to see it from multiple levels of the family. We saw the scene with the mom, which is probably the best scene in the whole movie, in my opinion. Is her getting trapped in the basement and everything in the that's probably my favorite scene in the whole. But we also saw a bunch of stuff with the daughters.
Yeah,
we saw some stuff with the dad.
What is it? Stop pulling my leg or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not. And it's like, huh?
Oh man.
Pan up to the top of the wardrobe.
Yeah, I was about to say. So the clapping, the hide and clap.
Yep.
The basement scenes. There's a few of them there. And then the wardrobe scare. Just one of the great scares of all time.
You see the one girl look up, and then the other one's like, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, and the camera pans.
Yeah, just masterful. I mean,
I will
it's,
say also,
it's James Wan as
Yeah.
well. Let's not forget the fact that
that is true.
essentially who I've crowned until Flanagan's now maybe challenging that crown, but I've crowned him as the modern master of horror. Pretty much, you got John
Oh, yeah.
Carpenter for the 20th century, and then the 21st century, you got James Wan.
Yeah.
So let's not pretend that there's not a big part of the reason this movie is what it is because you've got one of the
Absolutely.
best directors
Absolutely.
of the 21st century for horror.
And I love
directing it.
the other scene that I love as well is Lorraine and Ed outside next to the tree.
Yeah,
That scene, oh my god,
with the
dude.
hanging legs.
That is such a good scene where she's just like, "Yep, that's
Yeah.
that's that."
Yeah. And it's so iconic too, because like there's been memes where like I've been seeing recently, especially, for spooky season,
Yeah,
where it's just like, family is in horror movies and it's like, oh, this house will be great for us and our kids. And literally in those like comics that people just animated, it's the house from this movie with
It
the
is.
tree and stuff where it's
Yeah.
like,
it has the noose hanging from it and everything.
and let's not go too much further without just giving our fucking all praise to Bathsheba. Just what a
Oh my
fucking,
God.
what a villain, dude. And the fact that it's like tied to like witch
Mhm.
lore and stuff. You're up in New England, so
I mean, fitting, right?
yeah.
But then also on top of all that, right? Like you have all of that going on with the family and everything. Their daughter's back home with a haunted ass doll trying to kill her. Like,
oh yeah, like the Warrens kid. You mean?
yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry. The
yeah.
Warrens are
When
there.
you say daughters, that can there's like 20 there's like
daughters.
yeah.
Yeah,
but there's 25 daughters for this
that's
family.
true.
So
the Warrens are dealing with this haunting and everything like that. Then back home, their daughter, the Warrens' daughter,
yeah,
is what is her name? Judy.
Judy.
Judy's dealing with fucking Annabelle.
Yeah.
You know,
God, I wish they would have been able to use the real Annabelle
the Raggedy
because I
Ann.
just do not think that thing is nearly as scary because
No.
it's trying too hard.
Yeah.
Like there's an element of like something being innocuous, and I feel like even the scenes we see throughout this entire franchise, we were going into like the Warrens Museum.
Mhm.
It's the stuff that you see that is just not. It's just unassuming. That's the most terrifying shit.
That's why
like-
a symbol monkey is terrifying to me.
Well,
Because
I don't think that's unassuming though. I think symbol monkeys are inherently. I mean, just the way they were created. I don't see how the person that designed that. I don't see how they weren't trying to make a scary toy with its fucking eyes like being all bulgy and bloodshot and shit, and its
Yeah.
face like. I don't know.
I mean, it's the same thing like with Furbies, right? They were trying to.
I
make
do need to
something
get one of those Pazuzu dolls. What are those new things that are all the craze now?
Oh, Labubu.
Yes, I need to get one of those because like there's all the religious people are saying that they're actually like Pazuzu is like
Oh God.
like and like I
Are they really?
100%.
I haven't heard
100
this.
fucking percent, dude. 100% people think that they are actual, like the religious people, the ones that'll tell you that, the monster logo is the 666.
Yeah.
All those kind of people. 100% say it's Pazuzu. I'm like, well, I want one.
Now you sold.
Yeah, you sold me. I'm like, you never would have had me. But once you said it was Pazuzu, I'm
Tad's
there.
over here like,
Excellent.
Yes, indeed. Which
my
got
God.
to give some shout out to good old Captain Howdy. Not necessarily Pazuzu. I have Pazuzu up there behind weapons, though.
it is true. He is up
So-
there. He's always there.
Always there, yes.
Unless you take down weapons and he's gone.
just like
He's
this, just like the symbol. Wait, where'd he go? You glare at me, but then you still have to check. I love it. So I'm not
monkey.
saying that the Annabelle's bad by any means. They did a great job with those scenes,
Yeah.
but I just think that they went too hard. They should have just made it more of an
No,
innocuous
I
doll.
get what you're saying. Absolutely, I get.
And
what you're
maybe
saying.
I'm wrong. Maybe it wouldn't have been the iconic thing that your daughter knew about had it not been designed.
Right.
I guess I'm in a weird spot where I'm like pointing fingers saying that I don't think it's as good, but ultimately it's like a $1 billion franchise thing, right?
Yeah.
Like these movies have made over $1 billion, but I want to say if you look at just the Annabelle movies, I think they're hedging up near $1 billion on their own. So
Have they really?
I think, yeah, I believe so. I know they're within spitting distance of $1 billion, I believe, because they made 3 or 4 of those fucking Annabelle movies now. And then also then it becomes a question though, how do you split the hair?
Oh my God! The 3 Annabelle movies have collectively grossed over $795 million worldwide.
Yeah, so you're talking you're talking well within the
The
realm of
highest grossing film is Annabelle Creation, which is over $306 million. 257 for original Annabelle, and Annabelle Comes Home with 231. That's a ton of money.
Yeah, no, it's insane. And then
Good
so
Lord.
like ultimately you can I can like I don't want to say it's cheating because like I said, how do you split the hair? Because does the Conjuring 1 not count in it too? So when you put that in there, you've got $1 billion of movies that have Annabelle in it.
Yeah.
And I know that she shows up in like almost all the Conjuring movies, so I think that's probably a cheat. But I think we
both Nun movies. Oh no, sorry, the Nun.
The overall Conjuring. I know we're only talking about the 1 through 4, but what's the overall box office for all Conjuring movies?
I gotta.
For including the spinoffs, because I want to say that it's well over $1 billion, but I don't know if it's hedging up into the near the $2 billion.
The franchise gross is $2.27 billion globally across 9 films.
Yeah,
so that's all of them. So Conjuring Last Rites, which just came out a few months ago. So
yeah. And did gangbusters too.
$482 million.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
Good
for sure,
Lord.
talking about that movie. But so what moment do you remember the moment that made you fall in love with this movie?
Hiding clap.
Yeah.
The way they built that scene. I already said it earlier. It's my favorite scene.
Genius.
But the way they built that
is it not
scene,
the best scene in the entire franchise?
Absolutely.
We said this movie, but what about the franchise? I mean, it's just
absolutely
like there's like scenes in Hereditary you think about that are just like insanely fucking good. And I think Hide and Clap goes up in that same pantheon of like, it's just masterful fucking horror. It's set up in the perfect way. It's
so
shot
good.
in the perfect way. Everything about it. I mean, it's iconic. I feel like in the same fucking vein of like, fucking Janet Leigh, screaming in the shower to seeing that mom in that fucking dark basement with the fucking match and the hands coming behind her. Like, it's just, I think that's in the same. I think it's
and the match goes out.
Yeah, just genius stuff. And I think that's for me too. I think that's the moment when I like, because again, I've been sitting through a lot of fucking horror movies because I'm a fan of this stuff. So it's like I'll go see whatever. And I just remember that was probably the moment when I'm like, this is different. This is next level.
Yes.
This isn't just your average 2013 horror movie that I've been watching these kind of movies, my whole life. But like,
this was Tad going to restaurant after restaurant and getting the same spaghetti dinner over and over again. Maybe he got lasagna one time. Maybe he got fettuccine Alfredo one time, and everything. It's all good. It's good, right? It's good.
Yes.
But then The Conjuring came along, and someone put a nice fucking ribeye right in front of you.
Yes.
And it's like, oh my God, where's this been all my life? Kind of thing. It's like, as great as pasta is and everything like that, it's no steak, right?
No, and honestly,
for you anyway.
More of an example though is like for a lot of the horror movies that had come out, it's more like I'm eating a lot of McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
And then suddenly I cook one of my ribeyes because I don't know if I have a restaurant that can come close to what I do myself.
Oh yeah.
I know how to do my own steaks.
Yeah, you got one of those nice Traeger smokers and everything with the.
But like I think that's really because like there are just so many shitty and forgettable ones that I had seen, and there's some good ones in there where it's like, oh yeah, that wasn't too bad. It's a good 6 out of 10. But this is one I remember just seeing that scene where I'm like, this is different. I'm like, unless they really fucking blow the rest of this movie up, like this is a different kind of film. And then like obviously the film played out perfectly. It went off awesome. And yeah, just incredible stuff. And this film, like I said, easily top 5 21st century. And like, yeah, if I were to do that list today, I think that it would be higher up. Just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's always gonna be in the top 5 for sure, but I'd say it's probably top 3 up there with Hereditary.
I think the Halloween movie definitely weighed on both of our minds because Halloween was 6 for me, by the way, and it was recent.
So good. So, I do love it, and I'm a huge Halloween fan though, so I got my biases there.
Yeah.
But ultimately, yeah, and again, the Hide and Clap I think is another thing to go back and give flowers to James Wan because like the dude knows how to make a fucking horror movie. And I think that I'm gonna spoil it a smidge because we haven't gotten into the sequels yet. But I will say that I do think that this one stands so much higher above the rest. So it's like kind of like the normal horror where you have diminishing returns with the sequels. Mm-hmm. But I do think that most of the sequels have been fairly good. I think this kind of is in the same realm as like Scream, where there's not necessarily the drop off that you have with like the old '80s slashers and stuff, where you go from like an all time great and then suddenly you're like
you go watch Halloween and then you go drop down to Halloween 4. It's like it's still fun, but it's not Halloween.
No, exactly. So I don't think you have that kind of like drop off, but I will say this one it stands head and shoulders above the rest of the movies, and I do think a large part of that's James Wan. Just he made this a fucking masterpiece. So
do you feel like there's a weak link in the series since we're talking about it?
Yeah, I think the third one is probably the weakest of the franchise for sure. And I think the fourth one, I do think they went a little bit too emotional, and I feel like that was almost too lovey-dovey versus horror. And I get it. It's quote unquote the wrap up, but like with the box office that just happened, I'm kind of wondering how long that sticks.
Yeah, because you set up the next generation.
And I don't know that you don't offer Vera and what's his name?
Yeah.
some contracts to show back up in the future here, because when you make that kind of money, man, it's hard to say it's your last. There's a lot of horror movies that have been the final nightmare, or the final chapter for the 4th Jason movie out of 9 that came out in the 90s, or 8 that came out in the 6, I'm sorry, that came out in just the 80s alone. So but the 4th one was the one that was the final.
And then even like Halloween has Resurrection. It's like, wait, we're into the resurrections? Like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah. We haven't really even talked about them yet, but Ed and Lorraine. Let's talk about them for a second, because ultimately this is the first movie. So do you feel that does their partnership, how do you feel their partnership is? I mean, it's for this movie, but this can obviously be a question that grows into the whole thing, because they're the through line, right?
Right.
And maybe I'll even just go a little bit further and say, first of all, first part of the question, Ed and Lorraine, give me your thoughts.
Oh, I think they're fantastic. They're the best casting, I think, for the movies across the board, across all 4 films. If you gave me the characters beforehand and we're like, okay, we're going to have this character, we're going to have this character, we're going to have this character, this is who we're going to have play them. Vera and Patrick were phenomenal.
I think the only challenge I'll give you on that, though, I'm not saying you're wrong, but the little girl in the second movie, fucking that movie lives and dies on her. And I know Ed and Lorraine are great. They're the stars.
Yeah.
But so much of that movie would have fallen apart if that fucking little girl didn't have the performance that she had.
She had an amazing performance. I am not taking that away from her.
And it's fresh in my mind because I just watched that reaction video.
Right.
And as I was watching, I'm like, oh my God, man, this movie is like, if they would have just got instead of like a 10 out of 10, like just a really good fucking child actor, if that would have been a 7 out of 10, I think the whole movie would have been dragged down a bit.
Sure.
Now, Ed and Lorraine's actors would have like been the thing that buoyed it from being a fucking train wreck. So I'm not saying you're entirely wrong. I'm just saying that if there's a challenge to them, it's the little girl.
But there is no second movie if Ed and Lorraine don't hold their own in the first one, because I think the big thing that comes from this versus especially other like possession movies, is the couple. Is that you have the couple
that connection
like
at the center
versus like the priest standing alone against the demon, kind of thing. Or in The Exorcist, the 2 priests. It's or the mom's alone in that one. Yeah, like you don't really have.
I mean, the priests are alone too. They're working together,
right. No,
but
that's
it's
exactly
like
it.
You got the one that's got the crisis of faith. The other one's like he's like literally lived his entire life as this lonely priest. Like
and that's where I'm saying it's a little bit different with Ed and Lorraine. And one of the things that I was looking at, and I was saying this earlier, and I don't know if I ever actually finished my thought, is that what I did with the second one, because that's the one I remember the least, because I haven't watched it for so long.
Yeah.
The third one I watched with my wife just last year.
Yeah, for the first time.
So I've seen that more recently than 2. I went and looked up a summary and read up on just to like remind me, and I was like, "Oh right, that's the twist. It's the nun, not the crooked man."
Yeah, no, it's the guy in the house, not
the
crooked
guy,
man.
The guy in the house,
the
right?
Crooked man's always just like he's the curtain puller. He's just there to like have a couple good scenes.
Fun, but no, but
you think it's the old man
in the house, but it's actually the nun of Valak. Yeah. And everything. And I was like, oh, right, I forgot about that. That is such a good twist and everything like that. But I think the big thing is, what I'm saying is that the through line with Conjuring 1 through 4 is the relationship of Ed and Lorraine. And you get a little bit expanded into the last rites, what you were talking about, with their daughter. Yeah. She's dating. She's getting engaged. She's starting a family of her own and everything like that. So it's like moving on, but also the whole series hinges on Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah, 100%. They're the series, right?
Yes.
Just like Laurie Strode is the center of Halloween. And I know that,
right.
If you would have asked me in the early days, I would have said no, because you didn't have that last trilogy. But like that last trilogy's basically made it where it's like, it's the blips where she's not there now. Whereas in the old days, it always felt like, well, she was part of 2 movies and then that was it.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of grown beyond her. But it's like then she came back for H2O and she was for a couple seconds in Resurrection, and then this whole new trilogy where it's like, no, this is Laurie Strode's story as much as like it used to be like Loomis was the Van Helsing to the Dracula of Michael Myers, but it's like
and you had a revolving cast that would help him.
They would just
fight.
come in and out, But ultimately now it's like, even now to the point where it's like mathematically we're probably getting to the point where Loomis is almost, well, we're not there yet, but we're going to be to the point here pretty soon. I don't know if Laurie will be in any more movies, but if she were, it might get to the point where she'll surpass Loomis's appearances, which is wild. But.
And I think that the fact that it's always Ed and Lorraine, it's always their safety that's the biggest concern.
Yeah, and they're caring for each other. I think brings a different level to it, right?
More so than other like possession horror films, because it's just like save my daughter at all costs.
You're worried about the main victim, the kid that's possessed.
Right.
You're worried about them or the family that's living in the house, but. Yeah,
you don't really care for like the exorcist people.
Not as much. I think
the priest, you're like, yeah, I hope this comes out okay for them, but they're not in any real danger. Like the exorcist, obviously, like, oh fuck, they're dead.
I think the younger priest, because we spent some time actually getting to know him and his mom, and
but the emotional attachment there is Reagan.
It's Reagan.
It's obviously
and
Reagan.
The mom for sure.
But in this one, it's not just the family and not just the possessed, but it's also Ed and Lorraine, because in every movie, there's the threat of. In the first one, it's more Lorraine. It's like, what is this going to do to Lorraine? I remember the line. It's even in the trailer because I just rewatched that with my daughter. It's every time we do one of these, a piece of her is, destroyed or left behind or changed. Or I can't remember what exactly he says, but it's a piece of her is taken every time we do one of these investigations and one of these exorcisms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then in the second one, she's having the vision that Ed's gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
He's gonna get impaled.
And
right?
in real life, he does actually die before her. He was dead years before she was. She was a cameo in the first movie. He was long dead by that point.
Yes.
So the last, probably at least the third and the fourth movie, I was just waiting for him to die, especially the last one when they're like, oh, it's the last one we're doing. I'm like, they're gonna fucking kill him, man.
Dude, they build up the whole movie about his heart trouble and everything,
which starts in the second movie.
Which starts in the second movie, is really prevalent in the third movie as well, and then really a big thing in the fourth one where it's like, if we do this, you're gonna die. It's like it's like Iron Man, put on the suit one more time and you're dead, kind of thing situation. So it's like. And I know what you said about the fourth one. It's like, okay, they leaned a little too much into that, but I think I'm wondering if they're setting it up where their daughter and her husband are going to take over.
Well, I think there's rumors of a show, and I think they've actually been talking that they actually might be getting Vera and Patrick for the show.
Really?
So, like, I'm like, what is that? I mean, I don't know. And again, after they just made the kind of money they made with the fourth one,
why would they go to a show then? Dude, make another movie, make another $800 million.
Exactly.
Like, good Lord.
Because like I remember when that was the marketing and shit, right? But then I remember that Sunday afternoon when the fucking box office like predictions, or because they basically do enough math to kind of figure out by Sunday afternoon what your weekend box office is.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like record fucking box office for like this. I'm like, oh god.
And everyone who went, we said this was the last one. They went,
hello, hey, you guys want to do a new movie?
How much you gonna pay me? $100 million. It's like,
here's a $10 million.
Here's $10 million.
Yeah. And also, what do you think about like the Lorraine's empathy versus Ed's practicality? Like, I feel like that's kind of an interesting one-two punch with the two, where they feel such distinct characters and different types, right? They're different types of people.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of an interesting thing as you go into each of these movies with the investigations and stuff. Where like you kind of know what you're going to get from both of them and where like one's going to be weak and one's not. Like they do a good job of, even in the first movie. By the end of the first movie, I feel like you kind of understand who this couple is, so that when you move into these other movies, there's a shorthand now. Yeah. You understand that like Lorraine is this and Ed is this, and you just kind of understand that.
Yeah, I love the fact that we have like the two different kinds of possession movies, right? Like there's the possession movies like The Exorcist, where they're looking for sheer proof that she's possessed. That's not Latin. What is it? It's English backwards. What?
Yeah.
Like they're recording her, they're testing her, and they're trying to. That's the Ed side.
Yeah.
That's very much the Ed side of things.
Yeah.
But then you have the other side of other possession movies where it's like, we need that, this house is clean.
This house is clean. Yeah.
Spiritual kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's very much like that with Poltergeist. You have the crew that's there, but then you call in the Lorraine, which honestly, that's probably who she's based off of, right? Honestly.
Probably, yeah.
Right. I mean, it's right in the middle of the 80s. They're very famous.
And go look up at an actual picture of Lorraine, and they did a good job in the later films where she starts getting like that really like mid 20th century woman's hair that they had, and like think about the lady in The Exorcist or the Poltergeist. It's very similar hairstyle. Now she's not 3 feet tall, Lorraine, but
I love.
Did they cover in the movies that Ed and Lorraine are the only two Protestants that have ever been approved to do exorcisms by the Vatican?
I think that is covered, if I remember right.
Because that is a real thing. Like the exorcisms are very I mean, they're kind of like the original movie shows. Like they're thought of as something of the past, and they're less secretive about it now. But ultimately, they're only priests can do it, except for Ed and Lorraine. We're like the only two non-Catholics that have ever been, given the seal of approval by the Vatican. And of course, there's probably Protestants out there that do it without the Vatican's permission or whatever. Right. But like that's just kind of a cool thing to kind of build the ambiance of the two for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so having the practicality of Ed versus the spirituality of Lorraine, while Ed still believes, and everything like that, he does lean more towards like the science and the cameras, the recordings, the temperature and microphones and all that kind of stuff. Whereas she's standing there with her fucking rosary beads and crucifix going, I feel a disturbance in the force. Yeah. Kind of thing.
Yeah, so. No, for sure. It's like, it's almost like science versus like faith is like the pair there.
And it's nice because usually you get that from
the
outsider. Versus these are the two exorcist people. Like, and then they bring their friends with them, obviously, and everything, and their crew to help. Yeah. But it's like, also one of the things I love about Ed and Lorraine, and this goes back to the real people, and I know there is some controversy around them. There's a lot of people who don't believe and everything like that.
Yeah,
but
I mean, whenever you're getting into this realm of like the supernatural, you're always going to have that. Yeah.
But what I love is that they didn't hide. They weren't like private people. They were out there giving lectures, answering questions, facing that kind of stuff. That takes a kind of bravery that I got to kind of marvel at, because for me, if I face any kind of controversy like that, man, my first thought would be like, all right, I'll see you guys when this dies down. Close the flap and I'm out. Kind of thing. They're there doing TV interviews, getting fucking ridiculed by people. Like even some of the clips in the movies themselves, they're like, wait, you really believe in ghosts and stuff like that? And it's like, yeah. If you've seen half the shit we've seen, buddy, we do believe in ghosts. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can find this picture, because I did actually set up the whole thing to where I can.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
I can share a picture. Let me get it pulled up here. You go ahead though. I'll just speak when we're talking about their popularity though. Let me.
No, yeah, and it's just like to have the guts to go out there and do TV interviews, lectures at colleges and stuff like that. It's great to see them do that, and obviously. You see it in Last Rites where it starts to taper off the love of the supernatural and stuff like that. Yeah, I did like that, to see like the decline where it's just like, we're not relevant anymore.
So here's the Cheech and Chong being on a talk show.
Oh yeah, exactly. Ed and Lorraine with Cheech and Chong. Are you freaking kidding me?
It's like, and that's where it's like kind of interesting to me that you like don't remember like learning about them before, because like they were so ingrained. I wouldn't say fully ingrained in pop culture. Yeah, they certainly have become much more because of these films. But there was certainly a thing where they were on talk shows and stuff. Yeah. Like there's like a lot of great video clips you can find out there. There's one where they're showing off like the image of the child in the Amityville house, like through the doorway, which is, I love as we're transitioning.
Of course, I've seen that now.
That picture, yeah.
Not that picture, but even like, I love the Ed
those interviews.
About it.
Yeah.
There's the one where Ed talks about it. I don't know if it's in the film or if it's something that was like an extra with the Conjuring,
or just videos that exist out in the real world that you've seen.
Where it came across my Instagram reels the other day. Coincidentally, just the other day, like about 5-6 days ago, it came across where it's Ed talking about, like, if you look back here, there's a boy there, and he talks about something else. It's like scientific wise and everything, and then Lorraine's just like, I could sense evil. It's like, again, the two sides of Ed and Lorraine there, kind of thing.
So as we transition to the second one, this is the most, probably I think they call it, and I think it probably still is, the most documented possession, type case in world history. Yeah, I mean, you're talking like news media. There's news stories on this whole thing before Ed and Lorraine ever show up. Like, this is just and like, do they show it in the credits where they actually show like the video of the girl on the talk show that's talking with like the demonic voice? Yeah, like, because that's a video you'll see out there in the real world too, where it's like the real video, because they portray that scene in the movie and stuff. But I remember after the first movie when they announced this, because like I had heard enough smidges about this, including like the contortionist thing and like that fucking box thing. Like, that's actually a pretty famous thing about this whole thing. So I was like, I wonder if they're going to do that in this movie. When they first announced they're going to do a second one, it was going to be based on the Enfield poltergeist case. I was like, oh God, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And then I will say, like, the Nun, Valak, the Nun, I will say, as much as I may shit on Annabelle for just being too obviously scary, the Nun works for me.
Oh,
and I think the Nun is my favorite. I mean, Bathsheba's the all-time great, but like my favorite thing that we've got to spin off from, and probably the one I'd be the most tempted to dive into, would probably be the Nun movies, because I just think the Nun is just such a fucking fascinating horror villain.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just great stuff. And the Crooked Man.
Yeah, because you look at a nun and you're supposed to be like, oh, sister, safety.
I don't know, man.
Like,
nuns are creepy.
Nuns are creepy.
Yeah, I know they shouldn't be, but like, there's just,
I mean,
we're in such a rational age that like just the idea of what they're wearing and the whole idea, it's creepy.
Yeah,
we're talking about a couple 1,000-year-old religion at this point. The Catholic Church draws its roots back to Peter being the very first pope, which goes back to like one of Jesus's disciples. So you're literally talking about 2,000 years essentially, quote unquote, of history ruling the world essentially for good chunks of the Western world throughout good chunks of history. Not good history for them, but like,
nope.
So I think all that built in, just there's a creepiness to nuns, and I think like there's just a less normalcy to nuns because the head covering shit that like priests don't have. Priests are creepy-ish too, but like not. There's just an extra level to nuns where it's like that just doesn't work in the Western context. There's just something about it, and they dress like penguins, so you shouldn't like them at all. So
they don't waddle.
If a nun was waddling, it would be essentially a were-penguin.
It's a fight on site at that moment, right? Like
it's a were-penguin.
That's where I just drop kick the nun.
So and then that scene with the painting.
Oh gosh.
Just
the hands come out. And
the shadow first.
Yeah.
Going across the wall, and then it goes behind the painting and like lines up with it, and then the hands
and then just rushes.
Just genius, dude. Just fucking genius.
Oh, it's brilliant
stuff. And then there's the flooded basement. Like later on is like just I've just pure anxiety because it's just like there's electrical shit going on. Like there's any number of ways this can kill you, ghost or not. And there's just it's freaky shit.
Yeah,
for sure.
Lorraine needs to learn to stay out of basements, for fuck's sake. Like,
yeah,
just thinking of it. One, the final showdown with Bathsheba's in the basement.
Yeah.
2, there's the flooded basement, and I don't remember anything from 3, but 4, that's where she confronts the whole freaking group of them in the basement by herself.
Yeah.
Like, no, Lorraine, stay out of basements.
Well, what are you saying? Kevin McAllister was right. The basements are scary and evil.
Yes.
Place. I mean, I guess that was your childhood too. So.
Yes, I hated basement. My basement.
Yeah. Did you find the London setting adding any creep factor? The fact that actually you're traveling to London and stuff. Because the one thing I thought about when I was watching that reaction video, because again I haven't rewatched it in a while.
Yeah.
But when they're like, "Oh, we need you to go to we need to go to London," I'm like, this is like the 60s or 70s. Like that's not as easy of a thing as it is now. Like plane crashes are way more common back then in the early 20 or the mid 20th century. Like I don't know, just jumping a plane to London now. And I'm not even saying it's easy now, right? That's a 12, 13 hour flight, something crazy like that. Probably 15 for us from Utah. And so like I don't know. I remember kind of marveling at that where it's like, oh, we're taking a plane to London. I'm like, that's not a small deal in their time period. Probably the 70s, I think, when that happened. So how did you feel though? Do you think the London thing added any kind of creepiness to it?
It did a little bit because you have like the old world.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you have the new world with America, but when you have the old world, all of a sudden things get a little bit different.
Yeah.
If someone's like, hey, I need you to go walk through these woods. What woods? Oh, the ones in Pennsylvania. Okay. Hey, I need you to go walk through these woods. Okay, where are they? In Romania. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like, not a chance.
Have you seen that thing though that like the Appalachians is the oldest mountain set on the planet?
I have heard that. So and it makes sense.
In
1977, a flight from New York to London could take just over 3 hours if you were on the supersonic Concorde, or about 7 to 8 hours on a standard supersonic jet. So 7 to 8 hours. And here's the thing I will say. Tad said like, oh, well, it's not as easy, and everything like that. Here's what I'll say about flights back then. Because we have an old mutual friend who was a huge fan of aviation. Used to work with us. He got me kind of looking into how little I actually knew about plane travel. Yeah. And one of the things I looked up, dude, flights back then sucked so bad.
Yeah.
First off, smoking.
I love the spirit.
They
of it.
did not have recycled air and all this kind of stuff, technology. The seats were trash, so every
I
little.
don't know about that, man.
No.
You can see some old.
No. You misunderstand. I'm not saying that they weren't comfortable, like padding and stuff like that. They did not have safety in mind, though. So if you hit a pocket of turbulence,
Yeah,
you get ragdolled around a lot.
Yeah,
Let's be perfectly honest.
You can go you can go look up pictures like the 50s and 60s and look up coach seats, and it's like it's better than first class today.
Yes.
So
yes, no, I'm not saying that, but like the comfort level back then versus like the safety as well.
yeah,
But like just the air alone is gonna make it. I mean, God, people fainted on planes all the time back then.
Yeah.
Because
air sick bags.
air sick bags were prevalent. Let's be perfectly honest, they didn't know a lot about food as much as we do now. It's like they had the fish too often and got sick. And that's
We
an
had
airplane
what is it?
joke.
We had fish or we had something else. He's like, oh yeah, that's
Steak.
right. I had the lasagna.
That's right. I had the lasagna. It's steak or fish. Oh, so everyone who had fish got sick. Yeah, that's right. I remember. I had the
Down the
lasagna.
pilot. It's got the fucking bone.
Fish bones, like from like Tom and Jerry
Like a
cartoon.
full fish.
Yeah, it's like what the hell is this?
I love that movie so much,
It's
dude.
so
It's
good.
so funny.
But no, that's the thing I will say is and also let's not forget that a lot of the first couple movies, their daughter's very young.
yeah,
So that's leaving her behind. And the second movie, like I said, I looked up the summary and everything. The big thing for Lorraine is that she has a vision that Ed's gonna die by an
Yeah.
impalement
yeah.
and everything. So
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking go if I see a vision of my spouse dying.
And that man in the first half of the movie
Yeah.
is creepy as fuck.
oh yeah,
Biting the kids, biting the mom, like they
Mhm.
just him in the chair, the TV changing. There was just a lot of creepy fucking shit going on with that. And then I don't know, is it even just watching that reaction video again because I need to rewatch it. The other thing too is I feel like it kind of tends to get forgotten that James Wan did direct the second one too.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the third one that he fell off. So, but yeah, I do think this movie is underrated.
Mhm.
Because I think that like the first one is so great and big that I think a lot of times people can tend to like overlook the sequels a bit. But I think it's to their shame, I think, for this one because this movie's incredible.
It is really good.
How about the favorite? Is there any favorite visual shots? The one that comes to my mind is Valak's eyes on the painting. When when she's looking at it, there's like two points when like the eyes are like the painting, and then the eyes are more like animated and glowing. When like there's just a couple shots like that are great. I don't know.
We already talked about my favorite. It's the painting rushing her.
Yeah.
like the shadow, the hand, and then
Yeah,
that's so good, and probably my favorite part of that whole movie as well.
yeah,
I know there's stuff I'm forgetting. Again, it's been a minute since I've watched it, but that does stick out to me. Is like that. And then I do like the conclusion. I like the finding out that she wasn't faking it
yeah,
and everything. That threw me for a loop the first time because I know that I looked into Ed and Lorraine a little bit after the first one. We talked about that a little bit about looking up stuff after
yeah.
watching a movie. I looked into them a little bit, and there was cases where they went and they're like, "Yeah, this isn't a real possession.
Yeah.
like this isn't real. Like,
Yeah.
no, thank you."
And then once they're in the realm where they're getting such popularity, like they're going to get a lot more like false claims and stuff.
Yes.
So, now here's an interesting thought that I had.
Mhm.
Ed's Elvis performance. Is that the sweetest moment in a horror movie? Bringing comfort to these kids. You've got like the come hither looks towards his wife. Like
Yeah.
that's a tough one to beat, man. Like
It
trying
is.
to bring these comfort to these kids.
Mhm.
I don't know. Just as I was watching that reaction video, which
I do love the fact that I again I need to rewatch 2 and 3, but I think it might be a through line with all 4 of them is that Ed just likes making pancakes. That guy's such a sweet guy. He makes pancakes for everybody. He's like,
Yeah.
"You want a pancake? I got a pancake for you. You want a pancake? I got a pancake for you.
yeah,
I am the pancake guy."
yeah.
But yeah, that Elvis one is
It's great. And then and then here's potentially a more controversial question.
okay.
Where does Lorraine rank for all-time girls in horror?
Ooh. Oh, she's top echelon.
I think she has to be.
She's
I
on.
mean,
She's on.
for-
If
for-
you know that ranking website.
yeah.
If you did that ranking website, she's
She's-
up there in the S tier with
Laurie.
Laurie Strode, with Sydney, with
I mean, that's your top echelon right
That's
there.
your top echelon,
Because
right?
a lot of horror girls don't end up following up with multiple movies. What's her name in Nightmare on Elm Street? She's in the first and the third one. The main girl.
I want to
in
say
the-
it's Kelly. but it's not
Cindy
right.
was coming to my mind, but Sydney is making me think that's not correct. But she ends up, it's a big deal that she's back in the third movie and she's there for most of it. And she ends up getting killed toward the end.
Nancy.
God, of course. Fuck.
Nancy.
That's yeah, I should have known that. I'm an idiot. But yeah, I just it is
Yeah.
one of those things though where it's like, you know, Laura. I mean, and I don't want to necessarily pair her away because like I would say where do Ed and Lorraine rank for all time repeat horror?
I mean,
it's
again,
S tier, right?
I mean, again, S tier. Like,
Yeah.
it's got to be, right?
Yeah, I agree. And then moving over to The Devil Made Me Do It. Like I said, probably my least favorite of the movies. I feel like this one.
Most fascinating case for me, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I just feel like filmmaking wise, I feel like this is where I felt the biggest step down, and why I was probably the most apprehensive for the fourth movie this last year.
Sure.
Because it was just a matter of like there was such a diminished return between the two James Wan movies and then the third one. I'm like, okay, we're getting another one that's not James Wan. Like, what are we in for here? Because I feel like, and I think James Wan's probably the key to it, where like he held the first two at such a level
Sure.
that there was just such a step down when you move to a different filmmaker. And again, that's why it's like he's the master of horror for the 21st century. Like, there's times that, like and it's almost fascinating where it's like I almost wish sometimes they'd make a movie twice. Make it with just an average filmmaker, then make the exact same movie with the exact same script. And they did that with one of the Exorcist sequels, and there was actually two films shot with the exact same script, and it's just like it's a fascinating thing. And I'm like, I almost wish I could have that with like, give me something that James Wan did, give me the exact same script, the exact same crew, the exact same producers,
with some guy
but just
over here who's directed 7 movies.
But yeah, he's just another random director, and it's like
Yeah.
let's just see the difference of the film between the two. And I know that'd be ridiculous because that'd be way too expensive,
Sure.
but I don't know. I just think that like the third one. And I would like to rewatch it because maybe it was just the taste that left in my mouth leaving it. Because I don't know if I ever rewatched it. I think it was just the first time at theaters. So,
Sure.
And it's not bad by any means.
No,
but it's probably my weakest.
I
for
was
me.
more referring to the actual case, not the
no, for
the
sure.
film itself. But the actual case really does hold an interest for me because it does bode more towards the true crime.
Yeah,
Because I'm a freak and I love that kind of shit.
Oh,
you know?
it's not even. It's so popular now that you can't even say it's so.
I
normal.
can't even say that I'm a freak. Yeah,
No,
you know.
it's too normal.
So to see that this is the first time ever that a possession is used as a defense in American law history.
Yeah. Well, also,
and
it almost
everything,
becomes
so-
more of a detective movie. I
Right.
don't even feel like it's that much of a possession movie. I know there's possession involved.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me take one step back just real quick to say that we didn't really talk much about that opening scene of the second one for the Amityville stuff. Is fucking incredible, including recreating that actual shot of the boy in the doorway.
Yeah.
Which is just masterful stuff, dude.
It
like,
is.
Like, I feel like the first movie, like, I feel like the opening scene of the second movie is so strong, it's almost like in the same realm as the first movie. Not to say the rest of the movie's not great, but that fucking Amityville scene,
Yeah.
again, also the fact that you're building in the fact that you're playing with one of the most iconic franchises of all time with Amityville. But yeah, sorry, I just wanted to mention that because that was on my notes.
It needed to be mentioned. You're right.
But yeah, I do think that it is a very fascinating one too, and the fact that it almost becomes a detective and or a criminal, trial-ish type thing, where it's like you've got that element mixed in too, where it's just like, as much as I shit on the Exorcism of Emily Rose, it's like for a movie like this, it's like a franchise now. Like it's maybe not the worst thing to actually look at a case that actually is becoming a case where it's like,
Right.
how does the law look at this, right? So yeah.
Also, the big one for this one is that there is an actual exorcism that they think is successful, and then they realize that they fucked it up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you could say that they messed it up, but it was
Great exorcism scene too. That opening scene.
It's great.
Is good stuff.
Ed suffers the heart attack, so you get even more into like the heart stuff, and
which I'm assuming that's how the real Ed died, is probably a heart attack. They did too much like world building in the movie for him to then just die of a stroke, or you know what I mean? Like he had to have died of a heart attack.
How did Ed Warren die?
He was impaled on a tree. What?
Complications from a stroke.
The one thing I said it's not going to be. I mean, I guess stroke and heart attacks are basically the same thing,
I
right?
mean,
Because there's blood clots that cause heart attacks, and if that blood clot goes up the different, route, it goes to your brain, and it's a
Right.
stroke. So,
he lived until 2006. I didn't realize that.
yeah, Yeah, he was. I don't want to say freshly dead, but he hadn't been dead long. I think they were actually in development for the first movie for a long time. So I think he was actually kind of like Johnny Cash was involved with Walk the Line, even though it came out years after he died. Because like both he and June, I think they both like signed off on their actor, for instance. And I don't know if that was the case for the Warrens, but like I do know that like the first movie was in development for a long enough time. I think Ed was aware that they were moving down the route of doing a movie. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, Lorraine passed away in 2019.
Yeah. Correct. I remember that. It was a much bigger deal because the movies had come out by that point. So like I think they're like pop culture icons at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like they're film icons. So the opening exorcism, how about the idea of like that it's occultists ends up being the villain? That's kind of an interesting spin on the whole, because I think that's the cool thing, and maybe that's why I want to rewatch the third one, and maybe I'm being too hard on it, but I will say the third and fourth do feel markedly less than the first two, and maybe that's just the James Wan effect, but like, and again, not that they're bad, because I think it's kind of like Scream, right? None of the Screams are as good as the first one, but I still think that Scream is one of the most consistent horror franchises of all time. And the only reason I wouldn't throw the Conjuring in there is because the spin-off movies, you've got to count those,
right?
Now if you want to say just the mainline Conjuring, I'd say it's in the same realm as Scream, as some of the most consistent horror of all time, in terms of like, we don't have that like 4 out of 10 where you're just like, what the fuck was this movie? So even though it's the weakest link, not to say it's a bad movie, I guess is all I'm saying in a roundabout way. So what else you got on this one? It's fresher in your mind. So
this one, it just fascinates me too, because it's like, wait, we got a murder, like to like you said, a kind of detective and have to solve it and everything.
Yeah.
But then the twist with like finding out that it's the occultist and then finding out that it's his daughter.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like, and then I love the Ed almost killing Lorraine because he's possessed and everything.
Yeah.
That really kind of turned everything on its head for me.
Yeah.
So I think the big thing for this one that really kind of took me out a little bit was the whole prison scene.
Yeah.
That was weird for me, and I don't remember it very well, so maybe that's my problem.
Yeah.
But that's where it's just like, and the way they built it up in the marketing too is like, this is the first trial ever to have demonic possession as a defense. And then we got 2 courtroom scenes? That's it?
Yeah, yeah.
So we didn't even, like, you're talking about the exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yeah.
That had more than this.
It did, and I think that I do respect their choice as filmmakers, though, to not turn this into a legal drama necessarily. I think that would have been the wrong choice for a movie called The Conjuring. But it kind of gets you into the story. But I think I do agree with you, though. It is one of the more fascinating cases for sure of the ones in the movie here. Yeah. So, also from the Hayden perspective, do you remember the what do you call it, where they do the dead people shit? Morgue, the morgue scene with that fucking goon, that large. Oh yeah, that's the scene that got Hayden bad, dude. Yeah. He was like seething about that scene after the movie got over. He's like, still that fucking goon. Yeah, just because it was a big motherfucker, man. That was a great scene for sure. And any more you want to say about 3? I feel like I'm less solid on these other 2 because I've only seen them the one time each. Right. So, let's see. I did know a little bit about the Smurl case from the 4th movie. So, and of course they build this as the final. I'm suspicious if it ends up being the final, because there's there's a lot of money on the table to be leaving that. So, absolutely. And it wouldn't be the first or second or 100th horror movie that said this is our last one and then changed their mind. So, money trumps all. So when it comes to film. So, but what I've always heard is there's 2 words, right? Show, business. Which of the 2 words is longer, show or business?
Business.
that's the reason they do it. So it's not as much as some of the people want to get all highfalutin about, oh, it's about the art. No, it's not. If you're not going to be able to sell your movie, they're not going to make it. So yeah, a lot more Judy in this one. We already kind of talked to Smidge about this. You got Judy's more of an adult. We got the marriage. I think you got a really cool like element with like Ed being kind of the father-in-law type thing. Did the final case thing affect your enjoyment of the film at all going in with all the marketing and stuff? Because again, like me, I was expecting Ed to die. I'm like, okay, it's the last one, and they're just going to kill him off because like he does die, and I know it wouldn't actually line up with his real death, but it's like ultimately
doesn't mean that you can't change it and make it, for Hollywood.
exactly. So, because that's a number of things, right? You always dramatize this stuff.
Yeah.
So, do you think that? How did you feel about kind of like the idea of them being a little bit older, with like Judy being an adult? Like, I feel like they kind of play them a little bit like they're closer to like middle age or older. Like they just felt like older characters.
Yeah, it was really good to see them more than just in their prime. It's Ed really dealing with the heart stuff. Like it's been going since 2. He has the heart attack in 3. In 4, it's like, no, we're retired. I'm not 1 week from retirement. I'm 6 months beyond my retirement. Like, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And everyone keeps trying to get them to come back in, and everything. One more case, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I love the fact that they do still actually end up helping, especially after what happens to their friend, the father, Gordon.
Yes, I
Gordon?
think so.
Because that was fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah. Reminded me of a couple of other ones. There's is it the Omen? The one where the priest gets impaled? Or is it?
He gets his head chopped off.
There's the one that gets the head chopped off. There's the one that gets...
That's the new remake.
No, I thought there was 2 separate movies that had... Because I thought they did the decapitation in both the remake and the original.
The Omen one with the priest is where it comes and takes off the back of his head. And
no, that's the first Omen.
He's standing there facing the guy.
Isn't that the first Omen?
And it's the remake. Because it's
no,
CG.
I think I'm pretty sure it's the first
CG.
Omen. No, the first Omen, the movie that just came out a year and a half ago.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I'm almost positive it was. Because that's very fresh in my mind. Yeah, because I want to say that there's it's the movie because the one with the guy that gets spiked. There's like pictures that you end up finding pictures that like allude to the kills because you see the priest that gets his picture taken and you actually see like a beam of light that goes through him in the same way that he's impaled. And I want to say that was the Omen still. But yeah, no, the one you're talking about is 100% the first Omen, the one that came out with what was maybe a year. I think it was 2023,
2024.
Was it 2024
with the spider on the eye?
Yeah,
and the hand.
Yeah, that's the one with the because it was good allusion to the previous priest. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's gonna get the fucking steeple coming down and stabbing him like the original, and then it turns out like nope, it's like a fake out, and then like oh nope, it was a fake out of a fake out, and like yeah, great stuff. But yeah, the priests don't have great times in horror movies. Not to mention the Father Karras. Taking the demon and then throwing himself out the fucking window. Right. Father Marin gets killed. Like, yeah, priests don't tend to go overly great.
Not in possession
movies. No. I will say I did absolutely love the wedding scene where they actually brought cast members from all the previous films in.
That was pretty cool.
I thought that was probably one of my favorite moments of the fourth movie. Again, I'm more hazy on it. So if you have anything more to say on the fourth one, I just need to rewatch it. So I it sucks for the third and fourth that I've only seen them. So I knew I'd probably be heavier on the conversation for the first 2 than the second 2. But if you've got more to say, certainly you're fresher on the third one. And then I don't know, sometimes you have a much better memory than me. So maybe the fourth one you remember more.
I liked the fourth one where the mirror like was the catalyst, but again, it's another fake out.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the fake out. It was the demon that was dealing with Judy, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what it was because of how she was born?
Yes, because
right?
It was like almost like Ode, right? That it's almost like Final Destination-ish, where it's like you
cheated death,
kind
of thing. But then like the murder with the family in the again, Lorraine, stay out of basements. Like what the hell?
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, the third one does have a scene with her in the basement. So all 4 Lorraine basements alone, not a good idea.
Yeah.
Just stop. Just stop it. No. Bad Lorraine.
Yeah.
But the fourth one, one of the things I loved about the fourth one is the realistic nature of the dad. It's just like, what do you want me to do? Like, what do you want me to do? With his kids, like when they're yelling at him and stuff like that. Like, because that's 80s. That's kind of like the lack of respect kind of thing that started happening.
Yeah.
with the younger generation. It happens with every generation. All the kids always act like that.
Yeah, have you ever seen that thing that goes back all the way into like the
Yes.
fucking like pre-Christ
I literally
eras?
brought that up to my
like
wife.
500
the other day.
AD is like the earliest one where they're like,
This generation's so lazy and doesn't want to work.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
and it just keeps going back generations.
It's just
and
every
suddenly you're
generation
just like,
says
suddenly you're like, oh, this is before Jesus was born. It
Yep.
just keeps going. It's like, oh, this is Alexander the Great's era.
Oh, look, this is where they invented the word work.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
and it's all different. Sometimes it's work, sometimes it's respect, sometimes it's. I mean, there's various but it's like the same three complaints, like just cyclical.
rinse and repeat.
Yeah,
basically.
pretty much.
But it's like I loved that the two daughters and everything like that are just like, let's get rid of this thing. Nope, it's gone. And then we find out that that's the mirror. We knew it's the mirror, and it's like, no, don't break.
Yeah.
Broken.
Yeah.
And then to have the conclusion was gnarly. Like I remember that at the end where, is it the fiance that gets his arm broken or is it his leg? He gets something broken. It was in Hayden's terms icky.
Yeah, yucky.
That's yes, yucky
Yeah.
and everything. But I liked having the whole complexity with the daughter. I felt it added a new element for the Warrens with Judy.
Yeah.
Being there and being part of it. And I'm not gonna lie, I loved the fiance. I loved him. I thought he was great.
Yeah. No, he was definitely a good character for sure.
So the possession was good, but the dad, the scene with the dad, where he's like levitated and choked and everything like that by that little gremlin, whatever she was, that scene that scene got me.
Yeah, I think I honestly probably before the end of the year I'll probably end up watching all four of them. Just you know, the first two to revisit them because I love them, and then the other two to give them their second chance to
they
not a chance, but my second view because I've only seen the both of them once, so it'd be good to revisit them. So
absolutely,
it's so much fucking shit to watch anymore though,
dude.
man.
That's the
tough.
problem, man. Is like you're like you gotta watch this, and I'm like, dude, man, like
Weapons though,
I know.
man. Weapons is that's like Hereditary, Conjuring.
I still haven't watched
level.
The Witch, man. Like
The Witch is great too. Yeah,
Like
I thought you were gonna watch that last year,
dude. I tried. I just like every time it's like, all right, I'm gonna watch it this Friday. Got busy. All right, I'm gonna watch it next Friday. Forgot. Like I'll be honest, dude. I forget. I do.
All right, what you need to start doing is texting me. Say, hey, at 7:00 this night, I'm watching The Witch, and I will fucking set a reminder. If you don't set, or you can set your own reminder too. It's like, hey, watch The Witch tonight at 7 p.m.
You know, another horror movie that I haven't watched still, and you're gonna get mad at me for this, is I still haven't watched Late Night with the Devil.
That's a great one too.
I know. It's just like
we're living in a golden era of horror, man.
How have I not watched all these horror films? My wife watched it. She loved it. I just don't have the time.
Oh, you have the time, sir.
I don't have the mental capacity to watch a movie after work. That's the big thing.
No, but you how many movies did you watch? You're watching, reading, playing. You're playing video games. There's plenty of time you've got to.
But I'm watching movies I've already watched while playing video games. That's the thing. Is like, turn off the video game.
Quit being a Gen Zer, sir. Sit down and watch a goddamn movie.
I know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Which Late Night with the Devil? I would say.
Ranking those three, what's
Weapons
one, 2, and
is
3?
number one.
Is this still?
It's so fucking good, and it's so unique from anything. Like it's just. Like I said, like it kind of fills in the same vein of like, when you walking out of The Conjuring or walking out of Hereditary, we were like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
And Weapons is that way. It's just like, and The Witch is incredible. I mean, that's a good one. But I think I'd probably go Weapons, Late Night with the Devil, and then Witch is the order I'd go. And they're all great. They're like, there's not a loser to be had there.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts on the overall Conjuring stuff? Like, I
think they're great. I do love these movies.
Top echelon horror, right? In terms of like the fact that we haven't had that drop off of like,
a
4 out of 10, where it's just like, what the fuck happened here,
I think
man?
the thing is that The Conjuring made our list for best horror films of this century. But if we did a best horror films of all time, The Conjuring, I think it still might be top 5 for me. Yours, it was 5th for you, so I don't know where it would rank for you.
Yeah.
But if you did top 10 horror films of all time, which is...
I don't know if anything this side of, well, maybe Scream, but I don't know if anything outside of the 80s, 70s, or 60s is going to make my top 10 of all time. There's too many like all-time fucking great stuff in like that classic era and the shit that I grew up on.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, Scream will probably be the one exception. It's like past 1989.
Man, I don't know if I could think of a movie off the top of my head that would be my number 2 over The Conjuring, because number 1's Halloween.
I mean, for
That's
me,
my-
Exorcist.
That's my greatest. The Exorcist might give it a run for its money. So okay,
Yeah.
but it would still be my top 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to think, but I'm almost certain that almost nothing outside the 60s, 70s, 80s would make my except for Scream. That's like the one exception, but I do think The Conjuring is
Hereditary, huh?
It may be, but dude, it's the shit I grew up on. It's the shit that I spent my summers watching. Like, it's that stuff that and I will admit,
it's got the nostalgia.
yeah, there's nostalgia on top of the fact that it's some of the greatest horror shit of all time. So, but The Conjuring is great stuff. And yeah, like,
and I can guarantee this will not be the last time we talk about the Conjuring universe.
No, this is a good 10,000-foot view of them. But at a certain point, we'll probably go back and actually just spend an episode at some point actually watching one of them and going into it deeper, or a TV show in the future if it ends up happening. So
very well could.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Well, we got about 15 minutes or so. Let's go ahead and hit some news. So,
okay.
The first one, rest in peace to Drew Struzan. There's a great poster that I found, so I'm gonna do my little new trick here where I can actually pop up something on the screen there. So yeah, just a cool Drew Struzan. It's very much in the Drew Struzan style, but you've got Star Wars, Lucas, Spielberg, Indiana Jones, Blade Runner, Shawshank Redemption. There's a bunch of things on there, but it's just very much Hook. I see Hook on there. This dude is just
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. E.T. Is up on top as well as he's on there twice. He's just one of the all-time greats when it comes to like posters. Like, I feel like, of course, there's like classical era poster stuff, but like for anyone in like the 80s through like the modern era, I mean, from the Stephen King side, for us Dark Tower fans, he did the Roland poster in The Mist. He's the one that did the animation. He actually made that poster, the one that Drayton is painting at the beginning of The Mist. So like, us Dark Tower Stephen King fans, just a wonderful dude. I've followed him on social media for a long time, and he was always a guy that actually posted his own shit on social media and stuff. So he actually just got diagnosed with Parkinson's or something in the last like 6 to 8 months, and then passed away. So just recently. So rest in peace to Drew Struzan.
Good night, sweet prince.
Indeed. Next up, this one is something. I don't know if you've heard about this or not. Halo campaign evolved.
I watched the trailer yesterday.
So 2026, first of all, the name is stupid. The dumbest name I've ever heard.
Halo campaign involved.
So dumb, dude. That's
Halo Combat Evolved. And now it's campaign evolved.
That's cringy as fuck. So this is not a remaster. This is a ground up remake. I don't know how much the trailer said. I haven't watched the trailer. I just did a bunch of reading on.
It didn't really say much. It's a normal video game trailer. It didn't go into like, so this is what this is, guys.
Yeah.
This is actually like a trailer.
Complete remake. Not a remaster, so that's kind of interesting. Using Unreal Engine 5. Also, as many as suspected, it's going to be day and date on PlayStation 5, along with Xbox and PC. Microsoft is pretty much saying that what do you call it? Exclusivity is a thing of the past from their perspective. Doesn't mean Sony won't have their exclusivities. The voiceovers have allegedly been re-recorded, as well as there's been all new mocap done. So,
oh really?
It sounds like it's the same actors for the voice actors, but everything's been re-recorded. They're not just trying to remaster the old recordings, so we might hear some different performances. All vehicles are now destructible and boardable, so that'll be a new thing for the original Halo.
Yeah.
Also, the Wraith is going to be drivable, so the Covenant tank.
Yeah, in the I'm just trying to think of what levels have Wraiths. So Assault on Control. But it might not be Assault on the Control Room. It could be different.
Yeah.
Because the campaign is being built from the ground up, and
I think it'll be largely the same.
They said there's going to be additional levels.
Yeah, so all enemy weapons are usable, including the sword. So I have to assume that also means hunter cannons as well.
Yep.
The studio says there are 8 weapons that have never been playable in the original Halo before that will be for this time. But I'm assuming most of that is shit we've played in other games, just not in the first game.
Yeah.
There is a sprint, and apparently there's no cooldown, so you're just going to be able to sprint, which is kind of probably the most chin-scratching thing for me. Because that's kind of a weird mechanic to completely change from the ground up. I know there's a lot of big maps and stuff, but like, really? Like,
it's a modern change to FPS is that you should be able to sprint. You stop to shoot, you sprint when you're traveling. So
I don't know about that one.
That's one of the things, like, for Ready or Not. Like, you go slow and steady through Ready or Not. Nice and everything.
Yeah.
But you're telling me that SWAT members can't sprint around a corner real fast?
I don't know.
So
4-player cross-play co-op.
Yep.
So 4-player co-op's a new thing. We've never seen that before. But no multiplayer, as the title hints at. That's a crazy decision. Apparently, their excuse is that they don't want to fully kill the Master Chief Collection, and I don't even think that's a good excuse because the only thing you'd be killing is the first game, which I don't know that that's that popular in the Master Chief Collection anyway.
Yeah.
So that is probably the dumbest, craziest thing that I know from this whole thing. Also, there's gonna be dozens of skulls for the game, so that's new for the first game, and then 3 additional missions that are prequels revolving around Chief and Johnson.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know,
They added the skulls into the first game with
minimal though. They didn't anywhere near match what the other games had. Now it sounds like they're gonna have dozens and dozens of skulls in this, so that'll be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
I thought it kind of looked off in the trailer. You have to let me know what you think. But
I've seen some screen grabs. I haven't watched the trailer. The screen grabs, though, it's like, yeah, it looks like way shinier. There's some stuff that looks a lot cooler. But yeah, I haven't watched the trailer, unfortunately. So
it'll be fun. But the one thing also I wanted to take away is that it does say, like, even like your banner down here, it says Xbox, PC, PS5. I do want to notate that it's not because this has happened before. It's not Xbox PC. They have it available. It's going to be available on Steam too, so that's kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, is it all Microsoft on Steam now?
No, not all of it. They do a lot of stuff where
I think they're getting there.
They're getting there, but a lot of their stuff.
There's probably some contracts they had that they can't put certain things in Steam right away.
Right.
But I think that they're at this point now where they're fully embracing.
I mean, they're getting ready to kill the Xbox. So
no, that's not true.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of suspicion on that, but they've come out and said that's bullshit.
They're actually speak differently. So
nah, they just don't care about exclusivity, and like it doesn't really matter. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how many. I mean, in the old 25 years ago when we got into Xbox or whatever, that was maybe one thing, but now I just feel like the camps are aligned, and I just don't think that you see a lot of movement from.
No, it's not the exclusivity that people are pointing to. It's the fact that they keep raising their prices, lying to consumers, and then also they just raise their dev kits for people to develop games. So they're making it harder for people to develop games for the Xbox. They're making it harder for people to afford the Xbox. They're making it harder for people to play Xbox games.
Yeah, they're just the first ones that are doing it. Everyone's going to follow suit.
So we'll see.
Because look at PC building right now. The prices in the last 5 years have gone up exponentially, and like it's way more expensive. And like Sony's going to have to do the same thing. Microsoft's just going to be the first on the board to do it.
I mean, the Switch raised the price of their games first.
But
they kept their console. A reasonable, not reasonable for me, but reasonable for normal consumers.
But ultimately, there's a reckoning coming because games have stayed largely the same price for way too long. Like when you go back and look, like $50 was like the gaming price like 25, 30 years ago. So the fact that we haven't actually seen games like progress with like the rest of the economy, and they've jumped from like up from 50 to 60, and now they're starting to get closer to 70. But like
the majority of new games come out are $70 now. So
yeah, but that still doesn't come close to matching what they would actually be if they matched inflation across everything. Like games should be $100, and there's been studios that have come out and said that with the amount of work that they put into them and stuff. Like that's just and if you actually match like tit for tat across the board of things that have gone to that level of price, like games should be that, but the backlash that has always come has stopped them always from actually allowing it. And I think Xbox is the first to step on the landmine, but this is interesting. And like the whole like Steam thing, the fact that they basically full on said the next Xbox console is going to be fully Steam like compliant, which means that like that's how they're essentially going to get around and get Sony games on available for Xbox folks.
Yeah.
So, which I think is the most evil genius thing I've ever heard. The fact that they've basically been building towards that, because Sony's been spent the last decade letting most of their games eventually end up on Steam.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's how you play like Spider-Man and stuff. So it's like, I just think that's the long game. And I think ultimately, why Xbox is just changing things up is because I think that whole subscription model too is the whole new view of things, and it's like they care more about that, and that's going to be their driver, and I think everyone else is going to be catching up.
I mean, they're raising
eventually.
the price for Game Pass because they lost so much money because of Call of Duty, so it's not anything to do with like inflation or anything like that. They made a bad financial decision, and now they're penalizing their their fans.
That's
literally what Bloomberg reported. It's not anything that I'm making up or just
but it's
being like conspiracy theorist on.
But
they lost way too much money on Call of Duty.
Yeah, and the thing is, none of those numbers are actually real. So Bloomberg's probably just mostly guessing. Because here's the thing: name me a streaming service that hasn't raised their price 3 times in the last 5 years. And so how is why is it suddenly villainous for Xbox to because they're constantly adding new games and stuff. So I think they're connecting dots where it's like, oh, this is catastrophe because of Call of Duty. But it's like, okay, but Netflix has raised my price 7 times in the last as many years almost. Now, yes, I checked out of Netflix for a chunk of time, but it's like I just got an email about HBO's raising their prices out of nowhere. It's not like hey, in 3 months, no, they're like, your next bill is going to be fucking $5 more, whatever. It's like, so everyone does it. I just don't know why. I think there's a lot of people that want to make Xbox out to be they're going to destroy everything, but I think they're just following what everyone else is doing, and I don't know. Sony will get there, and I just don't think that they've got 3 or 4 years from now, we'll see that Sony's the same thing. The PS6 is going to be fucking exponentially more expensive, and I don't know. It is what it is. Let's see. But I'm just saying, when it comes to the whole killing it, they've actually come out and said everyone's guessing at this, but they're wrong. We've got plans for the new system. I don't know why everyone's so it's just the rampant speculation that happens for sure that I even started to believe it because I was starting to think oh, whatever. But then I was starting to actually look into it. What are the, and whatever. And then right around the time I started to look into it is when Microsoft came out and said, no, we're right in the middle of planning the new Xbox. I don't know why everyone thinks we're just going to stop. So, next up we've got, that's the wrong pedal. I always kick my pedal and then it ends up in the wrong spot. I need to get it bolted down to the fucking floor to where it can't move on me. Then I won't have any accidents. Next up, we got your story on Sarah Michelle Gellar talking about the Buffy reboot, which I know there's been a lot of news on, which I haven't necessarily covered because I don't know. That's why it's good that we're now doing it to where we're both looking at the news. Right. So Variety was asked if we need to watch the original series before jumping into this, and she said no, absolutely not, because this is a show that will cater definitely to the people. There will be Easter eggs because there were Easter eggs in the original. There will be Easter eggs in this one, but we also want to introduce it to a whole new, people that maybe haven't seen the show. Who are you and why haven't you watched it? But okay.
There it is. That's the line I wanted from the article. Yeah, Tad. Who are you? Why haven't you watched it?
I loved what we did last summer.
Yeah?
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen a second of the show, so I don't know. It's just one of those things. Sometimes you watch shows, sometimes you don't. And I don't think you've ever even peer pressured me to watch it. So
because I know you won't. That's the thing, is when I tell you to watch something, you don't fucking do it. It took literally this podcast to make you watch Harry Potter. Don't me. That's what it is.
I watched it, and I bought it. So
I've told you to watch a couple animated movies as well. Have you watched those?
Animated movies?
Yes.
No.
Yes, I have.
No. What?
What?
Yeah.
What have I told you to watch?
Yeah.
The Incredibles 2.
Family movies.
That's an animated movie.
Yeah, but you think I'm going to watch a family movie?
Yes.
I haven't even seen the first Incredibles, for God's sake.
That's the other one.
There's 2 of them?
Yes.
I didn't know there was 2.
Exactly.
So Hulu has also greenlit the pilot, but not the full series yet. So, and remember, Hulu used to be Fox. So
yes,
not going to put any bad juju in your head there. But
doesn't matter. Hulu's owned by Disney now. Hulu's going to go away soon anyway, so.
Not by name. They're just getting rid of the app to where you actually have to. I've actually been watching Hulu in my Disney app for 6-8 months now. Yeah. So, but they're just fully killing the app, so it's all integrated.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. What I thought about this.
Who's the one that has Showtime? It's the same thing. Showtime doesn't even have an app anymore.
Yeah.
You just watch it in the Paramount. I think it's the Paramount.
Yeah.
So you just go into the Paramount, and on the side you can go down and highlight the Showtime. So that's what Disney's doing, and it makes sense.
Amazon has it where you can watch other apps in it as well.
Yeah.
But it's just
it's a smart way to go.
Honestly, what I would love is if Disney actually slapped the other streaming services in the face by being like, oh, since we no longer have to maintain the Hulu app, here, we'll drop your price by $1.
Yeah, right.
It's far-fetched, I know, but
I don't even know if I have I guess
Pam, that's just stupid.
I mean, not that I disagree. It's just never going to happen.
No, it's never going to happen. But seriously,
when pigs fly,
seriously, how awesome would that be if Disney's like, everyone's raising prices, hey, we don't have to take care of the Hulu app anymore. Here's $1 off, guys.
Yeah, no, it won't
Even
happen.
if it was for 1 month.
No,
no,
they'll just say, we'll drop your price if you let us put 75% more ads in.
Yeah, no kidding.
Next up, Mortal Kombat 3 is in development.
Good.
So it makes me even more hyped for MK2.
Didn't we hear that it got greenlit? Like,
no, this just happened.
Oh,
so
I swore we heard that Mortal Kombat 3 was like ready to go. They're filming 2, but then they're going to go right into 3.
I think there's maybe been some like talk, but that's kind of in the filmmaker realm where it's like whatever. But now it's official that Jeremy Slater was at New York Comic Con, the writer of the newest movie, and he'll be writing this one. He says, our friends at New Line and Warner Brothers are so happy and excited with this movie. They're so convinced that there's going to be a giant fan base waiting for it that they've already hired me to start writing the next installment. So
Nice.
This is like not just talk, but this is like he's now hired to write a third film. So
Good.
That's pretty great. And then next up, we've got, I just wanted to mention it for real quick. The Pluribus trailer has come out. That's the new Vince Gilligan show.
Pluribus?
Yeah, so pretty hyped on it.
Plur one bus.
It's being stylized in that way, but it's Pluribus.
Vince. Okay.
Yeah,
Vince
new
Gilligan.
Vince Gilligan starring.
The guy who did Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Got it.
Yeah, so starring Ray Seahorn. And that's where I teased earlier that I'd have an announcement because next year we are going to be diving into Better Call Saul. I actually I thought better of it. So what we're going to basically do is I'll have 6 episodes next year where we're going to have Peter watch a season of Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
I was thinking about breaking it up though to where like there's the episode like before and after Breaking Bad. But when I thought about it, I'm like, I'm not going to do that because most likely Breaking Bad's going to go into like 27 because that's like 6 more episodes. And like I'm not going to like make you wait for that 1 or 2 or those couple episodes, until
so you're not a complete monster.
No, but I will have to give you a couple. No, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But we are going to basically be going through Better Call Saul.
I've seen Breaking Bad once.
Yeah, one, but not enough to remember everything. So, but I think I'm still just going to let you roll through it. So that's coming up. I wanted to mention that because of the Pluribus thing, but yeah, we're going to be going through, which gives me a chance to rewatch it as well. Yeah. Many people actually view Better Call Saul as better than Breaking Bad. I don't know if I can go that far, but it is.
I thought you said that before.
No, I just said I can understand why people say that, but I don't know.
I thought you said it before, not this time. But
no,
I think maybe.
No, I've what I've always said is I can see why people would say that, but me personally, I don't think the nostalgia of what Breaking Bad was will ever be able to get topped. But Better Call Saul is like 1A. It's like just, if not tied. Like I just don't know if I could say it's better than. So it's really good though. Next up, we got Jeremy Renner talking Doomsday and Hawkeye season 2.
Yeah.
Renner was, quote, visiting the set.
Yeah, that's such a crock of shit, right? I'm glad you picked up on that, too.
Yeah, fucking right.
So just so everyone knows, just to give a peek behind the curtain real fast, I know we're at time. Tad used to do the news all by himself, and I would just react. We made a change this week. We talked about it. Tad sent me where he gets his news from. Mostly, I know there's other stuff that comes across your desk because you have like news alerts and stuff like that set up, which I don't. Because I've always, from our other podcast show, I've always just been head in the sand guy. Tad tells me, I react. But now, the Buffy one and the Jeremy Renner one, I put these 2 on the list because I read this article and I went, dude, bullshit.
Yeah, there's no way.
There's no way he's on set to catch up with friends and get some food and take a tour. Bullshit. Hawkeye's in Doomsday.
Yeah.
There's no chance, right?
100%.
Not a chance he's not in it.
100% agree. Yeah, so the other thing I guess we'll say too is the reason I ended up finding out the stuff about next year is because I was actually going to think about actually planning out when the Better Call Saul episodes would be.
Oh, gotcha.
And I was like, wait, I should probably make sure there's no landmines. And when I filled out landmines, I'm like, oh my god.
Oh god,
yeah. So there's a number where it's
not a landmine with Better Call Saul, but a landmine with a show we already had scheduled.
Yeah, exactly. And like honestly, I haven't even looked at TV shows yet. So like with all that stuff that's on the calendar for next year, that's just the movies. So I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with like Lanterns comes out next year. I didn't put Supergirl on here. This is just actually why wasn't Supergirl on the list?
Tad.
Oh, I googled the list of like what are the most anticipated movies for 2026, and like I went through its list and I plugged in the ones that made sense. Man, Supergirl didn't show up.
You know what? You know what we say to them, Tad? You know what we say to them?
Go to hell, Powers.
How dare they?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, Scream 7, Mando, Odyssey, Brand New Day, Clayface, and Doomsday all on the calendar already. Like,
I appreciate that you put Clayface on there for me.
It's not just for you. It sounds like it's going to be a full-on horror movie, and Mike Flanagan wrote it. So
it. Yeah, not directed.
dude, Flanagan writing it is half of Flanagan's better than no Flanagan. That's all I'm
true.
saying.
That's
So,
true.
also, have you seen the conspiracy theories that Rick Flag is Clayface in Peacemaker
Yes.
season 2? We'll see on that.
It's even worse for me because I've watched
Creature Commandos.
Harley Quinn.
Oh, okay.
Because Clayface in that is like, dude, he fakes being someone like every other episode.
Oh yeah, isn't that's
So,
one of
like,
the big deals with him for
like,
sure. So
No, like in a comedic way and everything like that. And the big thing is they're always like, why are you acting so funny? I'm not. I'm a good actor. Like kind of thing. It's like, and then of course it's voiced by Alan Tudyk too.
Oh,
So it's just
okay.
like brilliant.
You mean Gary?
Yes. Gary's a name.
Oh man. All right, but that'll do it. We're out of time. There's a few more news articles, but like we ultimately just use the news articles to like get whatever time we have left.
Yeah.
But we can cover if there's anything that's worth covering. I will also just throw out, I won't read it, but Elizabeth Olsen did come out and say that she's never going to do a studio film that won't have a theatrical release.
I did see that.
So,
I like that.
Bravo to that.
Yeah.
Everyone else needs to start fucking doing that. Let's block these motherfuckers from doing this straight to streaming bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that's what
you want to make a straight to streaming thing? Great. Make a limited series. Great. Make a series.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But don't give me a big blockbuster movie that's straight to streaming service.
Yeah.
Because
Also,
guys like him want to go to
also,
the
I do think I did see something, I haven't verified it yet, that Netflix may have said that the whole theatrical Stranger Things is bullshit too.
Oh, they're not doing
it's
it?
not happening because they said that everyone that's watching the show is watching on Netflix. Why would they want to watch it any other way?
Yeah.
So also the runtime thing was horseshit too. They've released the first like 4 runtimes, and at least 2 of the 4 are like an hour long. So this whole like they're all 90 minutes or longer that's horseshit. That was all horseshit. There's a lot of lies and deception in the.
We need that button tab.
But I don't think that that was actually true marketing. I think that was like speculation from some of these leakers. It's just a good reminder that leakers can be full of shit sometimes. So, but yeah, next time on though is Peacemaker season 2.
Yeah.
So speaking of Peacemaker, so that's what we got coming up next time. And the episode after that, I don't know yet, but I will for sure commit that we will have an episode figured out by the time we record next time, which is a fortnight from now.
Top 10? Top 10?
Again, I was
We
thinking
haven't done a top 10 for a minute.
we haven't done a top 10
Top
for
10?
a second. That's we'll,
Top 10?
we've got to figure out what we got left to do for top 10s. I know
There's a lot of top 10s on our list, Ted.
No, I know. We have, because we were going through all the genres, but like I don't know if I'm gonna. I mean, dramas is interesting.
Top 10 times Tad traumatized me. Top 10 times Tad was mean to me. Top 10 times Tad was horrible.
Rip Chewy.
That's number 1. That's number 1.
Oh, I love the spirit of it. All right, but that'll do it for this episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks talking about Peacemaker season 2, which I'm really excited about. We will. I will sign off as I always do by saying, almost said the wrong thing. Let your geek flag fly high. Love what you love, and to hell with anyone that says anything about guilty pleasures.
You want a game of hide and clap?
Yes. One day we will get Hayden to agree to a game of hide and clap.
I think it's even more possible now with the news that developed yesterday. So
News.
we'll talk after.
Hide and clap. I don't think Hayden will let us do it at his house though, because that'd be fun. Turn off all the lights.
I think the 3 a.m. at the cemetery hide and clap Ouija board combo.
I don't think Hayden will ever go for that, but here's to hoping. All right.
Just hoping.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone.